Hello and welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. Atop the snowy mountains of the Johto region on the highest peak of Silver stood a 17 young man. This man had raven black hair and stood about 6.4 feet tall. His once beautiful auburn eyes were now devoid of emotion. You could see the pain in his eyes from the traumatizing events this man had endured in his past. He wore a black coat, his face covered by a hood, his face barely visible. Think of Organization XII's attire from Kingdom Hearts, but not entirely the same. Next to him stood his faithful companion and best friend Pikachu, a yellow rodent with a lightning-shaped tail and little electric pouches on his cheeks. "For years, Pikachu," said the hooded figure. "For FNG years, hard to believe, right?" "Pie, Pika Pika." Pikachu answered while nodding his head in agreement. "Ash. Ash. Hurry up, I'm freezing," said a 16-year-old girl with honey-colored hair. She no longer wore her pink hat after deciding to grow out her hair and put it in a ponytail. "1 second, Serena. I'm almost done," the hooded man yelled back at her. The man pulled down his hood to reveal the matured face of Ash Ketchum. His auburn eyes glassy as they reflected the snow that hailed on them harder than a Snorlax falling off a building and landing on a familiar trio of evildoers. "Why did we even come here, Ash? There's nothing but snow, snow and, oh how could I forget? More snow." Serena complained. "I have my reasons, Serena. Don't you know what today is?" Ash yelled at her in a mix of anger and sorrow. "Ash, it's just April 2nd. What's so important about?" Serena started but immediately realized her mistake. "Ash, I'm so sorry, it never occurred to me that today was Dash." "It's okay, Serena. I had to see her one more time," he whispered as a single tear slid down his cheek. "Oh, Ash, did I know you loved her so much? It wasn't your fault, you couldn't have done anything to prevent it from happening like it did," said Serena as she pulled him into a tight hug. "Pika Pika. Pikachu," Pikachu said while patting his master's leg. As Ash slowly let the tears fall freely and he began to sob onto his friend's shoulder. The cold atmosphere made him remember all the moments he had shared with her. When she played with him outside with him when he was a little boy, all the times they had made hot chocolate and rested by the fireplace as she told him the stories of his father. That of who comforted him in the worst times of his life. She watched him leave on his 10th birthday to follow his dream. She welcomed him home each time he returned home with love and grace. Most of all, the moment when she was broken like a frail branch. Gone. Ash slowly stopped crying and released himself from Serena's grasp. He turned around and said only 4 words. 4 powerful words. "I love you, Mom." Ash slowly stopped crying and released himself from Serena's grasp. He turned around and said only 4 words. 4 powerful words. "I love you, Mom." Flashback 4 years ago. "Hey Mom, I'm home," yelled Ash. "Hi honey. Welcome home. Did you enjoy your time in Unova?" asked his mother, Delia Ketchum. "You bet, I caught a lot of new Pokemon," Ash stated proudly. "Want to see them?" "Of course, Ash. But first let's have some lunch," Delia said. "I never turn down a meal." "Thanks, Mom." Ash cheered as he pumped his fist in the air. Seconds later his stomach growled. "Well, I guess that's enough proof that you need a big welcome home meal," said Delia with a cheery smile. Ash's face grew a light shade of red out of embarrassment, but it vanished in the blink of an eye. Time skip, 9 days later. Ash stood in his backyard sharing yet another story from his Unova journey. Then when we reached the top of the tower, Stefan got to ring the bell and make a wish. He wouldn't tell me though. Ash sulked as he reminisced the candle race in which one of the candles of a real Litwick. "That's really cool, Ash, but why would he tell you? If he did, his wish wouldn't come true." Delia giggled as she humored her son's childish behavior. "Yeah, Mom, but Ash started, but he was cut off by a sudden gust of wind startling the two. Mom, what's going on? Ash yelled, trying to make his voice heard over the harsh wind. I don't know, sweetie. Let's get inside before it gets worse. His mother replied, yelling as well. Out of nowhere a Flygon landed with a rider whose face was protected by a fat aura that was tilted over his face. Hello, Ash, came the deep voice from the stranger. This must be Delia Ketchum. How sweet, looks like you two are having a family get-together, too bad your father isn't here to enjoy this moment. Shut up. I will not let you insult my father. What do you want from us? Yelled Ash, his fists are clenched in rage. Pikachu stood in front of the mother and her son, cheeks sparking with electrical energy. Oh, what do I want? Well, I certainly want a certain brunette with beautiful sapphire eyes, but sadly with you being a part of her life there is no chance of that happening. The man yelled with maniacal laugh. Well, that is until you're not a factor in the equation, she will be all mine. Yelled the man, laughing like a maniac. What does May have to do with this? Yelled Ash. Ash felt something he hadn't felt since the Sea Temple. Fear. Fear for a girl that he cared deeply about. His relationship with this girl went far beyond just friendship. She thought of him as her best friend, but Ash felt something different. He felt something he hasn't felt for any other girl at all during his life. His feelings were stronger than the feelings of all of the friends both shared. His feelings weren't the same as the unconditional love she received from her family. Some would say he was infatuated with this girl, but only Ash knew the truth. Ash loved this girl, not like the kind of love for his friends or family, but different. This love had a place in his heart that was untouched by any other feeling he had experienced. I won't let you hurt her. Ash yelled. I never said I was going to hurt her. I'm just giving you a warning. Stay out of my way. May will be mine and nothing will stand in my way. The man said. No. I won't let you. Ash yelled. Run now, boy. Why don't you just disappear like your father? The man spat, his voice full of venom. Leave her, Ash started but was cut off by his mother. What does this have to do with my husband? Delia shouted, demanding an answer. She was furious, her eyes burned with hate as the man mocked not only her son but her husband. Why do you defend him, Delia? He left you. He left you and your child. He never fathered him, he just vanished. What does that tell you? He doesn't love his son and he certainly wouldn't care what happens to either of you. Why else would he have left you after Ash was born? You know nothing of my husband. He had his reasons to leave. He didn't abandon us, he told me he was leaving. He told me why and I said he could. So how dare you mock my husband? Delia yelled, tears leaked from her eyes. She was enraged, she wanted this man to burn in hell. Whatever you say, Delia. I'd love to stay and chat, but time for me to finish this. Hey Ash, how does it feel that you've lost your father but now you're going to lose your mother? The man bellowed. His voice was deep and was full of hate. Flygon, end this. Use flamethrower on the Ketchums and let them burn. Flygon roared and opened his mouth, releasing a flame hot enough to turn metal in goop. Ash, look out. Delia screamed in terror. Ash stood still, fear paralyzingly even muscle in his body. Delia then ran to her son and with all the strength she possessed she pushed Ash out of the range of flamethrower. Mom, no. Ash screamed, shaking in anger. Tears were in his eyes, his fists were clenched, his fingernails digging into his skin. God damn it. The man yelled. Stupid beach. Look what you've done. You've ruined everything. Flygon began to ready another flamethrower until his master raised a hand. No, Flygon. I have a better idea. He said as he approached Ash. How does it feel, Ash? Your mother is dead all because of you. I think this is a far more suitable punishment for a failure like you. The man said. Ash collapsed to the ground. His eyes burned from the tears that fell freely to the ground. Pika Pika. Pikachu. Pikachu yelled, unleashing a powerful thunderbolt at the man. Flygon. Flygon cried as it landed in front of its trainer to protect him from the lethal attack. Flygon, Flygon. It muttered. Ash. Came a voice. It was faint and was very weak. After this came a raspy cough. Mom. Ash yelled as he turned around and ran to his mother, kneeling down and holding her burnt body in his arms. Mom, it's going to be okay, we're going to get you help. Ash cried in a very raspy voice. Ashy, I'm sorry but my time is up, sweetie. I want you to remember these 3 things. Delia said, her voice just above a whisper. Mom, don't talk like that. Please. Ash cried, laying his head in his mother's shoulder. Ash, please be strong. If I'm leaving this world, I need to tell you these 3 things, they are more important than you think. She said, coughing as the words came out. 1. Ash, this was not your fault. You did everything you could do. She said. Her voice was strained, Ash could tell there wasn't much time left. 2. I want you to know that both your father and I are very, very proud of you. We love you so much, Ash. Don't ever forget that. She said. She put her hand on his cheek and slowly pulled herself up and kissed it. 3. Ash. This is my last chance to tell you about your father. Your father is an amazing man. When you were born, he held you in his arms and he had the biggest smile on his face. Tears began to leak from her eyes. Ash, it's time I told you who your father is. Ash dash, she began as coughed up some blood. Your father's name is Red. She said. And one last time she muttered, I love you, Ash, and her body went limp. No. Mom. Ash screamed and began to have a mental breakdown. Well, looks like my work here is done, the man said as he began to walk away. You. This is your fault. Ash said, running at the man, tackling him to the ground. I am going to kill you. Ash yelled, preparing to punch the man. The man kicked Ash off of him and stood up. His hat on the ground. Ash's mouth was open with shock. His facial expression showed 3 things. Sorrow, hate, and disbelief. The man that stood before him, green hair accompanied by a set of emerald eyes. He stood about 6.1 feet and his face had a slash on it that closely reassembled that of a knife wound. The man turned around and mounted Flygon and flew away into the clouds. The sky grew dark as rain bore down on the shattered boy. Lightning lit the sky and you could see the boy's face was full of discomfort. He fell to his knees, punched the ground and sobbed once again. Pikachu stood right next to his friend and shed tears of his own. Why, Drew? Why did you do this? Why did you do it, Drew? Ash muttered to himself. He walked up to the edge of the peak and knelt in form of a stone slab. Etched in the slab were words Ash had carved with a hammer and a chisel 3 years ago. R.I.P. Delia Ketchum. She will forever have a place in my heart. A.K. August 14, 1973 to April 2, 2010. In front of the grave was a withered dahlia flower, its beautiful crimson petals shriveled and brown. Each petal had water droplets frozen on them, weighing the petals down. Mom always loved dahlia flowers. Did I ever tell you, Serena, that when my father proposed to my mom that he gave her a bouquet of dahlia flowers? Ash asked. He smiled at the memory of the great detail his mother went into describing that moment. No, Ash, I can't say you have. I hope when I'm proposed to I get flowers just like those. She answered, putting a hand to her heart. Mom once showed me a picture of them. Remember, Pikachu? Each of them was a different color, but all of them were equally beautiful, just like she was. Ash said while holding back tears, his lip beginning to quiver. Pie, Pikachu said. Pikachu walked up to Ash and nuzzled his face, attempting to make Ash happy. Once Ash composed himself, he pulled out another dahlia flower from his backpack and placed it in front of the grave and kissed 2 of his fingers and put them on the grave. A few minutes passed and nothing was said. All that was heard was the strong gusts of wind sending snow in all directions. Serena finally decided to break the silence. Ash, if you don't mind me asking, when will we spread her ashes? Serena asked. Soon, Serena. Once I think I'm ready to part with them, we will go to Pallet Town. Ash said in a serious voice. Pikachu was looking at his friend, his eyes evidently showed that he was worried. Brrr. It's getting colder by the second. I need to warm up. Come on out, Fennekin. Serena said while releasing her first Pokemon from its Pokeball. Fennekin, cried the little fox-like creature. Fennekin, come here. Warm me up, Serena demanded as she shivered and rapidly rubbed her hands in a futile attempt to warm up. Fennekin yelped as it shot an embed at her face. Aw. I didn't mean use ember. Oh no, my hair, it's ruined. It took forever to get it ready this morning, cried Serena as she collapsed to the ground, sticking her head in the snow in order to ease the pain from the burn. Serena, that's not a good idea. Ash said while shaking his head in disappointment due to his friend's childish behavior. Pikachu. Pikachu said while chuckling. Serena pulled her head from the snow, her face was blue, her hair was full of small balls of ice that were mashed into each strand. Fennekin whimpered as it leapt into Serena's arms. Fiend, it cried as it liked her face. Oh, I can't stay mad at you, Serena said. Stop that, it tickles. She said while giggling. Serena, are you ready to go home? Ash asked with a smirk on his face. About time, Ash. I could really go for some lava cookies right now. Serena said with a big smile, her eyes sparkling at the idea of the tasty sweet. Ash took a Pokeball from his pocket and threw it in the air, yelling, Charizard, I chose you. As the Pokeball opened, a large red dragon appeared. It had a long tail with a large flame burning fierce on the end. It stood on two legs as it lifted its head and roared. Its cry echoed throughout the air, breaking the silence. An Abomasnow in the valley below ran into a crevice in the side of the mountain to hide. Ash ran up to Charizard and jumped onto its back. Pikachu hopped into Ash's backpack. Serena, come on. After all your complaining, I would think you would be on before me. Ash said, laughing out loud. Oh, okay, just let me call Fennekin back into its Pokeball, Serena said, her face a light shade of red out of embarrassment in realization they were leaving. Fennekin, return, Serena said as a red beam of light sucked the little fox Pokemon into its Pokeball. Serena then sprinted up to Ash, jumped onto Charizard's back, wrapping her arms around Ash. Serena, I know you hate flying, so this time I won't have Charizard fly as fast as usual. But still, it's gonna be pretty fucking fast, Ash said with an arrogant smirk on his face. Ash, oh, I really hate why dash, Serena started but was cut off by Charizard launching itself into the air and flying at a speed that some would say was impossible for a Charizard. Ash Ketchum, I hate you. Serena screamed. Yeah, tell it to the judge, Ash said, rolling his eyes. Time skip, 4 hours later. As the sun set, our heroes could see their home in the horizon. They were almost home. There it is, Serena. We're almost home, Ash said with a large smile on his face. All our friends are waiting for us, he said, his face showing the eagerness only matched by a crazed Justin Bieber fangirl. Pikachu. Pikachu cheered, poking its head out of Ash's backpack. Nice to be back in Kalos, she whispered. As the sunset disappeared from view, the sky grew black, only pierced by the light of the stars above. Ash had dropped Serena off at her house in Vanville Town and was currently walking through the crowded streets of Lumio City. There it is, Pikachu, we're home. Ash said as he carried a slumbering Pikachu in his arms. Hard to believe Clement let his stay with him this long. Ash thought to himself. Flashback 4 years ago. Ash and Serena sat outside the Shutterbug Cafe in Lumio City. Ash, please, you need to be the one to tell them what happened, Serena pleaded, grabbing his hands and tightly squeezing them. She patiently sat waiting for an answer but got none. Ash, don't you dare ignore me. Serena yelled. I refuse to tell them what happened to your dash, Serena started but was cut off by something grabbing her leg. Serena, why are you yelling at Ash? Asked the little girl. She had blonde hair and a little satchel with a yellow mouse in it. Den! Cried the little mouse Pokemon. Bonnie, what's going on here? Asked the little girl's brother. The boy had blonde hair as well. He wore a pair of glasses and a light blue sweatshirt. On his back was a large backpack loaded with who knows what. Ash, finally deciding to speak up, said, Clement, we need to talk in private. Let's go to your gym. Ash said with an emotionless look on his face. His eyes were bloodshot and it looked as if he had not had sleep in a long time. Ash and his friends entered Prism Tower and currently were in the house portion of the tower where Clement and Bonnie lived. Now tell me, Ash, what is going on with you? You seem really down. Clement asked while giving Bonnie a Pop-Tart. Ash said nothing. Serena had a depressed look on her face and decided to take matters into her own hands. Clement. 9 days ago a woman named Delia Ketchum was murdered outside her beautiful home in Pallet town. Serena said, holding back years. Bonnie, you may want to leave the room. I don't think this kind of talk is appropriate for a girl of your age. She said. But what happened? Ash, Bonnie said before choking on her Pop-Tart in surprise of the situation at hand. Once she properly swallowed it she asked, but why can't I stay? She asked with tears running down her face. I'm a big girl, I traveled with you guys all throughout the Kalos region. I'm ready. Bonnie, please, I don't think you dash, Serena said but was cut off by the girl's older brother. Serena, I think Bonnie has every right to know about what happened. Clement said. If I may speak. Ash started. His voice was very dry. His words were a bit forced as if he was sick. My mother was murdered by a man named Drew Larus. You probably know him. He's been on TV a few times. Famous coordinator with green hair, ring a bell? Oh yes, the boy with the rose raid. I remember seeing him lose to a girl with a Blaziken in the Johto Grand Festival. Clement said. Wait, he murdered your mother? Clement yelled out of shock. Yes. He did, Ash said. Wait, has there been a funeral yet? Bonnie asked with tears streaming down her face. There was but it was cut short, Serena began. Let's tell them about that another time, Ash cut in. Anyways, Clement, I'm homeless now, and I have all of my Pokemon with me. Do you know a place I could stay? He asked. I'm sorry, Ash, but I have no clue where Clement but was cut off and not in a way very appropriate for a little girl. That sick son of a beach. How dare he? Why would he do this to you, Ash? Bonnie screamed in fury. Dee-Nay, can you please calm Bonnie down? Ash asked. Dee-Nay nodded and then let loose a small electrical shock to calm Bonnie down. I didn't mean like that. Ash exclaimed. On the ground lay a girl scorched black, her hair stood up straight from the electricity coursing through it. On another note, Serena started but was once again cut off by the little girl. Clement, can Ash stay with us? Bonnie asked. Of course Ash can. That's a great solution. Clement said. Thank you, Clement, Ash said. Flashback end. Ash walked into a small room. Inside was an adult-sized bed with a small nightstand next to it with a table-side lamp on top of it. Across the room was a mounted TV and a desk with a laptop. Ash set Pikachu on the foot of the bed and took off his jacket and crawled into his bed. Why did you choose him over me? Ash though, as he let his exhaustion from the long day take over and he fell asleep. The sun brightly shone over Lumio City and the citizens were already up and about. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning and people are already opening up shops, filling up taxis with gasoline, people beginning to bake treats and put them on display. Almost everyone was awake and taking control of their day except for one raven-haired boy who was still in dreamland. Dreamworld. Ash, why would you do this? Asked a little boy with glasses. In his hand he held a pokenav, a piece of technology from the Hoenn region capable of displaying your current location and the ability call people. In his other hand he held a pokeball, with his starter Pokemon in it. Max, please, you need to believe me, I didn't kill my mother. Ash yelled while tears streamed down his face. Why don't we ask Drew? He has never lied to May and it's so obvious that you killed her. Max yelled. Will, Max, that's the truth, said Drew, walking towards the duo while holding hands with a brunette girl. Ash, you are full of crap. Drew would never lie to me. He loves me. You killed your mom, don't lie to me. Yelled the girl. May, please, you have to believe me. I love you. Ash yelled, tears streaming down his face as he collapsed to the ground. Ash, I don't care. I don't love you, I don't like you. I hate you. I love Drew. May yelled. She turned around and walking into Drew's arms and said one last thing to Ash. You're no better than your father. Ash started to sob uncontrollably on the ground, curled into a ball and waited for everything to get worse. Drew and May slowly began to move closer, their lips centimeters apart. No. Ash screamed as he bolted away, sitting up straight in bed, his hand reaching out into the air as if trying to grab something that wasn't there. Ash, what the hell was that? Why did you scream? Clement yelled from the kitchen. The smell of pancakes slowly entered the ravine-haired boy's nostrils. Ash immediately got out of bed and went to the kitchen with aggravated Pikachu following him. Clearly Pikachu didn't enjoy being awoken by Ash screaming. Ash walked into the kitchen and sat down at the table with Bonnie. Clement walked up to the table with 3 stacks of pancakes and gave them to the duo. Dig in, everyone. Clement said, his eyes sparkling, proud of his creation. Ash grabbed the plate and started to shovel the pancakes into his mouth. They were gone within 15 seconds. Ash, maybe you should actually chew your food before swallowing. You would be able to actually enjoy the food more. Clement said, sweat dropping. Ash, why did you scream earlier? Bonnie interrupted. Oh, it was just a bad dream. Ash said. His smile immediately faded at the memory of the nightmare. It was about her again, wasn't it, Ash? Clement said. Let's not talk about it anymore, guys, Ash said as he stood up. I need to get some fresh air, I'll be back soon, he said as he walked out the door with Pikachu right behind him. What did I do to deserve this? Ash asked himself as he stood on top of Prism Tower. Pikachu was happily chugging a bottle of ketchup while his master was lost in his thoughts. Hey Pikachu, remember when we came up here during the start of our Kalos journey? Hi, Pikachu said, nodding his head at the memory of the Professor Sycamore's Garchomp being enraged and attacking the city. I remember when the foundation underneath you crumbled and you started to fall, Ash began. I was so scared, Pikachu. I have never been that scared in my life, the thought of losing you is just terrifying. I don't know what I would do without you, buddy. Pika Pika, Pikachu said while sheepishly rubbing the back of his head. The only time I've been that scared aside from that was at the Sea Temple. Ash started. I was afraid for not only you but for May. I just wish she believed me. Pikachu didn't seem to notice as he hugged the bottle of ketchup, leaving Ash to his thoughts. What did I do to deserve this? I mean, why the hell would she believe that smug BSTRD, he thought as he began to grow angry. Why can't I get her out of my head? He yelled. Maybe I can help, Ash, said someone from behind him. Ash turned around and a look of surprise appeared on his face. Serena, what are you doing here? Wait, let me guess, you were so bored without me. You need me to be with you every second of your life because you are so in love with me, Ash said with a very sarcastic look on his face. Yeah, Ash, that's totally it. Serena said, rolling her eyes as both of them shared a laugh. To answer your question, Clement called me and said something was bugging you and he wanted me to check up on you. Ash, what's wrong? Serena said. It's nothing, Serena, Ash said. Ash, it's obviously something. I have known you for the past 10 years. Ash, even after I moved out of Pallet Town we kept in touch. You even called me during your many travels. Not to mention we traveled the entire Kalos region together. Ash, you can tell me anything, I'm your friend, and friends are there for friends, Serena said. A moment of silence passed until Serena broke it once again. It's about her, isn't it? Serena asked. Yeah. Ash replied. I just did. After everything we went through she took his word over mine. She believed Drew over me, her best friend. Ash. Serena said. What is this really about? You can't fool me, you can fool the others, but I know there's something else you're hiding. I don't know how I feel about May. I mean, I hate her, but every time I think about her I can't help but feel sad. Why did she choose him over me? She took his word over mine. I want to hate her, but a small piece of me refuses to let go of her. Ash answered truthfully. Ash, I know why you're feeling this way, Serena said. You may not like what you hear, but it makes sense in all actuality. Ash, you're still in love with her. What? No. There is no way I love her. Ash yelled. I do not love her, Serena. Even if I did, what would it matter? She hates me. Well, Ash, deny it if you want, but you have a chance to. Prove me wrong, Serena said. What do you mean? Ash asked. Serena reached inside her pocket and pulled out a letter. Clement wanted me to give this to you, she said. Do you know what it's about? He asked. Yup, now just read it, Ash, she said. As Ash slowly took the letter he was shocked at what was on the envelope. It was sent to Ash Ketchum. He opened the envelope and pulled out a sheet of paper. He began to scan the text while wondering what the F is going on. Dear Ash S. Ketchum. Due to your impressive achievements you have been invited to participate in the Pokemon Master Cup. This tournament is being hosted in 7 days on Twilight Island. Many trainers will compete and the prize? Becoming an official Pokemon Master. We hope to see you there. Sincerely. Charles Goodshow. Ash's eyes at this point were wide open in shock, not only at being invited to possibly the biggest tournament in history or the fact that someone knew he was alive. How does he know? Ash asked, not expecting Serena to give an answer. Here is the other letter, Serena said, handing him the final letter. This will answer your question. You're probably wondering how you've been invited to this tournament, Ash. You're also thinking, how did I know you were still alive? Ash, I nominated you. How? Easy as 1, 2, when you have as many connections as I have then you tend to know things that most shouldn't. One more piece of information that you may find useful would be that your former friends are competing as well. Scott. Scott, Ash said with a long sigh. Serena, get Clement and Bonnie, we're leaving for Twilight Island soon. Ash, does this mean dash? Serena said until she was cut off by Clement walking up to the duo. It's exactly that, Serena, and I am competing as well. I'm a gym leader, I am required to, of course. Clement stated. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go. Serena said, squealing in joy at the realization that the old Ash was back. Time skip, 5 days later. Wow, Twilight Island is beautiful. I can't wait to go shopping. Serena said. Serena, can we please not do that? Ash said. He was once again wearing his cloak form silver, keeping his face hidden in the shadows. Why not, Ash? I mean, we can just, oh no, Serena said as her eyes glued to a large group of people walking by. Among them were a boy of Ash's age with brown hair walking next to a girl with orange hair. There was a shorter boy that looked no older than 14 with glasses. A tall dark-skinned male walked in the back of the group. A girl with blue hair covered up by a beanie walked a bit slower than the rest, deep in thought. But what stood out the most was a brunette-haired girl holding hands with a green-haired boy. It's them, Clement whispered in disbelief. Drew, Ash said through gritted teeth. It's them. Clement whispered. Drew, Ash said through gritted teeth. His fists immediately balled up into fists, his eyes grew wide and full of hatred. Ash, please, just ignore them. Just calm down please, Serena said in a very panicked-like voice. She hugged his arm and whispered, please Ash. Nothing you do will get you anywhere. Please just calm down. Tears began to form in her eyes. She didn't want her childhood friend to endure more pain. After all he has gone through, the last thing he needed was more. Serena. Ash whispered. Please don't cry, I promise I won't do anything risky. Ash. Serena said while tears began to drip from her eyes. She let go of Ash's arm and turned her back at him, not wanting her friend to see her in her current mental state. Serena, look at me. Ash said, suddenly grabbing her shoulder, spinning her around to face him. Serena, look in my eyes. I promise I won't hurt anyone. I wouldn't lie to you. Please believe me, Ash said while staring into her eyes, trying to make a point. Serena just stared into his eyes, trying to process what was happening. All right Ash. I trust you, she finally whispered. She pulled away from him with a small blush on her face due to the close proximity they were in. Guys, let's go to the hotel. Bonnie squealed. I really hope I get my own room. No way Bonnie. You may be 11 years old, but there is no way I'm trusting you alone after what happened the last time I left you alone at Dash, Clement started. Let's not talk about that, Clement. Point taken. Fine, we will share a room. Bonnie pouted. Well, come on. Race you guys there, let's go. Diden. Diden, cried the little electric mouse. Bonnie took off running, who was followed by Serena. Last one, there is a slowpoke. Serena yelled. At this point Ash started to sprint and yelled, Clement, step on it. After 4 years I'm still slower than my younger sister, Clement sighed as he began to chase the group. Time skip, 12 hours later. Ash and Clement had split up from the girls. They went to go shopping while they went to the opening ceremony for the tournament. Ash, look at all the people here. There must be thousands. Clement said. Oh wait, sorry Ash, I got to go. Bye, he said as he ran out of the arena. What was that about? Ash wondered. Hey Pikachu, you excited for the tournament? Hi Pikachu. Pikachu cheered. I'll take that as a yes, Ash chuckled to himself as he found a seat in the stands. As the sky had finally darkened and the arena was lit by torches as Charles Goodshow walked onto the battlefield with a mic. Greetings Pokemon trainers of the world. Welcome to the Master Cup, a tournament set to test your skills as a trainer, and you all should be proud of not only yourselves but your Pokemon for making it this far. He said. He paused for a moment or so before beginning again. As you may know, this tournament has some of the most talented trainers in the world competing in it. Now we present the trainers that are part of the Pokemon League. He said. He took out a handkerchief and wiped his forehead. A large screen rose from behind Charles and there were 5 headings: Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, and Kalos. Please turn your attention to the screen everyone. Charles said. These are among possibly the strongest trainers in the world. As you may notice, these are all the current former gym leaders, Elite Four members, and champions in the world. Now let's give them a warm welcome. He yelled. The floor in front of Charles opened up and a platform rose from it. On the platform stood many trainers we all know and love. The crowd went wild, fangirls screaming at their dreamy idols, guys proclaiming their love for the beauties that stood before them, and of course all the regular people just clapping and cheering. Now Cynthia, may you please address the crowd? Charles asked. Of course. Cynthia answered in a cheerful voice as she took the mic from him. Hello everyone, I am honored to be here among the strongest trainers of the world. It's hard to believe of all of them I am the strongest. She started, but the mic was ripped away from her hands by a brown-haired male. Now Cynthia, that isn't exactly true. The man said. Everybody, as you may know, my name is Blue Oak, leader of the Kanto Elite Four. Now the 3 strongest trainers in the world are Cynthia, Steven, and Lance. Does everyone agree? He asked the crowd. He was met by the nods of many heads and people screaming yes or no way _ is the strongest. Now Cynthia, you say that you are the strongest, but that is false. Charles, they have returned, Blue said as Charles' eyes grew wide and his face grew as pale as a ghost. Cynthia, you are the second strongest in the world. Stephen and Lance, as good as they are, they do not compare to these trainers. Blue said with a wide smile on his face. Let me present to you the third strongest trainer in the world and the true Johto champion, Jimmy Gold. He yelled as the league members' faces went from confusion to shock. Into the arena walked a man with a backwards hat on, his hair parted through the opening of the hat. He wore a red sweatshirt accompanied by a pair of black and yellow shorts. Next to him walked his strongest Pokemon, his Typhlosion. Gold stood right next to Blue and Cynthia as if nothing was out of the ordinary. Cynthia, I think you know what this means, don't you? Blue said. Yes, I can't believe he's back, she said. Now the strongest trainer in the world. He has been alone and not seen by anyone for the past 17 years. He took down the largest criminal organization in the Kanto and Johto region, Team Rocket. He collected all 8 badges the Kanto region had to offer and managed to defeat the Kanto's former Elite Four like they were bugs. He took down the current champion during the time which that isn't important. He is an official Pokemon master and has been the undefeated Kanto champion for 17 years and has finally returned. Blue said. I am proud to introduce you to the strongest trainer in the world and my best friend Red Ketchum. He yelled the last 2 words with all his might. From the stands walked a man with a red sweatshirt on unzipped revealing a white undershirt. He wore a pair of blue jeans with a pair of red and black sneakers on. He wore a red hat with a Pokeball symbol on it. As he walked by Ash he muttered to himself, I love you son. When he finally walked to the center of the arena he slowly turned around and faced the crowd. No words were spoken, the arena was dead silent, people began to leave the stadium. The stands were empty except for our raven hair hero who collapsed to his knees with tears in his eyes and he said only one word. Dad. Dad. Ash jumped to his feet and ran down the aisle to meet his father in the arena below. Finally I get to meet him. I said with a wide smile on his face. The arena was suddenly swarming with reporters, bloggers, and paparazzi. Cameras flashed, people were yelled over each other trying to make themselves heard by Red asking 1,001 questions. Red, why have you returned? Red, where have you been? Did you lose to a challenger? What was your reaction to the news of your wife's death? What do you think about your son's crimes? That's enough, Blue yelled grabbing his Pokeball. Red reached into his coat and pulled out a Pokeball and threw it in the air. Out came a large red dragon. It had a tail with a large flame on it. Its eyes opened wide as it spread its wings out. Charizard. It roared as it spun in a 360, the fire on its tail created a vortex around it and his master. It took off into the sky carrying Red on it, disappearing into the night sky. He never was one for publicity, Blue thought to himself as he returned his Pokeball to his belt. No. Ash said as his voice began to trail off. You have got to be kidding me. Ash then turned around and walked out of the stadium and was en route to his hotel before Clement stopped him. Ash, I had no idea, I'm so sorry you didn't get to talk to Red. Clement said, trying to comfort his friend. I'm fine, Clement. Ash said as he stared into the sky. I finally met him, it may not have been what I wanted but I know he is alive and he is here at the tournament. I'm bound to meet him eventually. As Clement and Ash entered the hotel they were greeted by an old friend. Hey Clement, it's been a while, hasn't it? Asked a dark-skinned man, his eyes were narrowed and wore a green vest. He had brown spiky hair that stood up straight. Oh hey Brock. It has been a while. Clement said while nervously laughing to no one in particular. Brock then looked at Ash and said, where are my manners? Hello, my name is Brock, I am the former Pewter City gym leader and I just became a Pokemon doctor. What's your name? Ash just stood there, his fists clenched. My name is none of your FNG business. Ash spat Brock, his tone was full of venom. Whoa, what is your problem? I'm just trying to be polite. Clement, what's up with this guy? Brock asked with a hint of aggravation in his voice. His name is M. It's Dash, Clement said, but was cut off by his hooded friend. My name is Terra. Terra from Lumio City, Ash said as he began to walk away with Pikachu on his shoulder. So Terra, will you be competing in the tournament? Brock asked. You ask too many questions. Try asking someone who cares. Ash answered as he walked away. Brock, who was that? Asked the brunette. She looked about the age of 15, in her arms she held a Piplup. She wore a white beanie on her head with a Pokeball symbol on it. She wore a red tank top and a white skirt. Him oh some JRK named Terra. Brock answered. In his defense, Brock, he has had a rough past. Who are you to judge him when you don't even know him? Clement yelled. The normally calm and collected boy had vanished and been replaced by a boy who was enraged and having some very violent thoughts. Everyone please calm down, Dawn said with previous thoughts beginning to return again when she noticed the boy's Pikachu before he walked away. Could it really be him? She whispered to herself. Hi, my name's Dawn, what's yours? She asked the blonde boy. My name is Clement, he answered slowly, calming down. Hey Clement, can I talk to you in private for a minute? Dawn asked as her heart beat rapidly out of her chest. Sure, but make it quick. Clement said. Dawn and Clement had walked into Dawn's hotel room. They sat on her bed as she tried to gather her thoughts. So, Dawn, what did you want to talk to me about? I mean, you don't know me, so you can see why I'm a bit skeptical, Clement asked. Just wait, Clement, promise me you will answer me honestly. I need to know this, she yelled the last 3 words as she began to break down crying. Dawn, oh my. What's wrong? Clement asked in surprise to the girl having a mental breakdown. Promise me you will tell me the truth, she said as she began to get control of herself. Fine, I promise. I swear on my honor as a gym leader, Clement said. I was hoping you would say that. She said as she looked up into the boy's eyes. Clementine is Terra dash, she started to say but began to break down crying again. After she pulled herself together, she with all the self-control asked in a whimpering voice, her heart beating rapidly as a small glimmer of hope became apparent in her eyes. She said only 3 words that shocked Clement. Is Terra Ash? Hey Ash, where's Clement? Bonnie asked as Ash walked by her in the hallway. He should be coming shortly, just go to bed, Bonnie. Me and Clement have a big day tomorrow, Ash answered with an emotionless face. He walked into his room and slammed the door, making it apparent he wanted to be alone. Pikachu, what have I gotten myself into? He asked his faithful companion. First we get here and we see them, and next thing I know I finally see my dad, and before I can even say hello to him he flies away. Pikachu said while liking his master's cheek. Thanks buddy. Let's go to bed. Is Terra Ash? Those words rang throughout Clement's head as he entered his room. I'm glad she believed me when I said he wasn't. He thought as he sighed and climbed into bed. Dawn, that I'm sorry. Clement muttered as he felt the world around him begin to fade away into darkness. Dreamland, Serena. Why did you do this to him, May? Asked our honey-colored haired hero. He loved you and you left him to rot all by himself. Serena's hands were balled up into fists, her eyes opened wide in anger. Why do you care so much, Serena? What has Ash ever done for you? Asked May, her clothes tattered and worn as her face was full of fear due to Serena's fury. What has he done for me? Who the hell do you think you are? Ash has helped me so much during my journey throughout Kalos. He saved me when we were little at Professor Oak's summer camp. He has been there for me every time, and when I needed him the most he was always there. You have no clue what he has gone through in these past 4 years, and you have the gall to tell me that you love him? Serena yelled at the top of her lungs. Serena, are you jealous? May asked with a straight face. What? Jealous? Ha, as if. Ash may be my closest friend, but I don't see him as anything more than a friend. Even if I did, Ash wouldn't feel the same because he loves you. Serena said as she laughed at the brunette's stupidity. Me and him? That's a good one. Fine, then you won't care if I take him from you. May yelled. What did you just say? Serena asked as she began to grow angry again. Oh, Ashy. May called as a raven-haired boy appeared out of nowhere. Yes, sweetheart. Ash asked as he grasped her hands, pulling her close. Come with me, we don't need this beach tagging along. I couldn't agree more. Goodbye, Serena, Ash said as he turned his back to her and began to walk away with May. Ash. Serena yelled. Why are you doing this? Because you mean nothing to me. The only reason I've kept you with me this long is just so I could get closer to May. I don't care what happens to you from this point out. I don't like you, Serena, never have and never will. I hate you, Ash yelled, his words so sharp that they could cut glass. Ash, no. Come back. Serena screamed in fear as she bolted off after the couple, but no matter how much she ran, they just faded farther and farther into the distance. Ash, don't go. Serena yelled as she woke up from the nightmare, her hand reaching in front of her for an invisible object. Ash. Serena whispered as tears began to well up in her eyes. Serena got out of bed as she opened the door and walked across the hall to Ash's room while she frantically knocked on the door. Ash, Ash, Ash. She whispered in rapid succession, praying for her friend to open the door. As Serena continued to pound on the door, Ash woke up and looked at his clock. It's 1:30 in the morning. Who would be awake at this hour? Much less looking for me, Ash thought to himself as he got up and walked to the door. Ash opened up the door and said, "Hell dash," but he was cut off by a honey-colored girl launching herself into his arms. Serena. Oh my gosh, what's wrong? Ash said as he closed the door, not letting go of his friend. Please don't leave, Ash. Please, please, please. Serena said while sobbing. Her once beautiful voice was now very scratchy and full of fear. Serena, Serena, I'm not going anywhere. Ash said as he stroked her hair. What happened? I've never seen Serena this distressed, Ash thought while greatly worrying for his friend. Come on, Serena, let's go sit on my bed, he said as he led her to the bed. Pikachu stirred and was now awake and was about to shock his trainer until he saw Serena crying. Pika? Pikachu asked in confusion, trying to figure out what was happening. I don't know, Pikachu, but I will soon. Ash said while sitting next to Serena. He flicked the lamp on and he gasped out of shock at the sight of Serena. Her eyes ringed red and were bloodshot from all the crying. Her voice was full of pain as she let out choked sobs. Ash, please don't leave. She whimpered while tightly shutting her eyes. Serena. Ash whispered as he sat next to her. He grasped her hand tightly while rubbing her back in attempt to soothe her. Serena, please don't cry. Don't go, don't go, don't go, she repeated like a broken record. She wasn't getting any better, if anything she was getting worse. Serena, look at me, Ash said, his voice was very calm and full of compassion. Serena, look at me. Ash dash, Serena said, finally snapping out of her trance, spinning around and looking deeply into his eyes. Serena, listen to me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to leave you, I'm not going to vanish. Serena, please tell me what happened. You're a wreck, Ash said while slowly brushing the tears off her face. You sniff, you left me to go be with May, she said while trying to calm down. You said. Why you hated me, that you wouldn't care what happened to me. You said you never liked me and you used me just to get closer to May. Why you dash, Serena said as she cried on Ash's shoulder. Serena, that's not true. You know how much you mean to me. Without you I would probably be dead right now. I never told you this, but that when my mom died and my friends turned their backs on me I was planning on killing myself, Ash confessed, only causing Serena to sob even harder. Serena, Ash said in a deep voice as he grabbed her by the shoulders. Serena, this is me, Ash Ketchum, your best friend. Look at me. Ash said, hoping to get a response from Serena. Serena looked into his eyes and tried to hold back her sobs. Serena, have I ever lied to you before? She shook her head, signifying that he hadn't. Good, now Serena, do you think I would ever intentionally try to hurt you? Once again Serena shook her head left to right. Serena, do you honestly believe that I don't care about you? Serena shook her head one last time. Thank you, Ash. Serena whispered as she wrapped her arms around him, pulling him into a tight hug. Her heart began to beat faster and a warm feeling began to grow in the pit of her stomach. What's going on with me? Why am I acting like this all of a sudden? She thought to herself as Ash returned the hug. Do you feel like you can go back to sleep, Serena? Ash whispered into her ear. I don't think so. She answered as her voice trailed off. I don't think I can go back there alone, she said as she pulled out of the enjoyable embrace and hugged herself, trying to forget the nightmare. Okay, then just sleep here. Ash said as he picked Serena up bridal style, carrying her over to his bed. Hey Ash? What are you doing? Serena stammered as her face grew a bright shade of red. Ash lowered Serena to the bed and pulled the covers up over her. You can sleep here, I'll be right here, just let me grab my sleeping bag, Ash replied while walking over to the closet, emptying out his bag. Found it, he exclaimed as he spread it out on the ground. He climbed into the sleeping bag after turning out the lights and said, Good night Serena, sweet dreams. Good night Ash, she whispered as her hand reached for her heart. What was that feeling I felt earlier while I was hugging Ash? It was so warm, but it felt good. I'm probably just tired, Serena thought to herself as she slowly fell asleep. Time skip, 11:30 a.m. Location, Arena 64 Preliminary Match number 34. Hello all you Pokemon fans. Who is ready for the next preliminary match of the Master Cup, shouted the announcer, and was met by the many cheers of the crowd that filled the seats of the arena. Contestants, please enter the field. The announcer yelled as the two participants walked onto the field. The referee then walked onto his stand and yelled, Today's match will be between Alexis Williams from Jubilife City versus Tara from Lumio City. The crowd roared in joy as the trainers reached for their Pokeballs. I'm sorry Sugar, but you won't be bringing home any trophy after this battle, said Alexis. She had blonde hair that cascaded down her back and stood tall at about 6.4 feet. She looked about the age of 24 and gave off an arrogant vibe. Whatever you say, Blondie. Ash replied with a smirk across his face. Let's see if you're even a challenge. Are the challengers ready? Asked the referee. Yes, both trainers replied. Trainers, please choose your Pokemon, the ref declared. All right. I choose you. I choose you. A light blue otter-like Pokemon emerged from the Pokeball in a flash of light. It had small black ears and a pointed crest at the back of its head, along with that it had long white whiskers branching off the sides of its face resembling two V's. Two Scalchops resided on its thighs. Duat! Cries the punishment Pokemon, taking a battle stance ready to show off its potential to the world. Your Duat's so cute. Alexis stated with hearts in your eyes. Challenger, please choose your Pokemon right now or you will be disqualified, the referee said. Fine, fine, don't get all pissy, Alexis said while pulling out a blue Pokeball. Time to shine, go Metagross. Out came a giant robotic Pokemon with a turquoise, disc-shaped body and 4 legs. A large metallic cross was situated on the center of its face. Its red eyes glared at the otter Pokemon out from the space in Metagross metallic armor. Gross! Roared the giant metal monster as it landing on the ground, creating a small tremor. Let the battle between Metagross and Duat begin, announced the ref. Okay Duat, let's start this off with an Aqua Jet. Ash yelled. A cyclone of water surrounded Duat as it launched itself at Metagross, moving at an incredible speed. Metagross counter with a Meteor Mash, said Alexis with a smirk in her face as she stood unfazed by Duat's speed. Oh, I don't think so, do-at blade run. While in the aqua jet, do-at grabbed both scalchops and continued to jet towards its foe. When Metagross' legs lit up, do-at spread its arms as the scalchops took the form of swords and spun itself in a vortex, expelling the water over the field as it slashed at Metagross in an X-like fashion. Metagross roared in pain as it collapsed to the ground. After a few moments of not getting up, the ref announced that Alexis had lost while Ash stood in shock of what just happened. Alexis, what just happened? How did I take out your Pokemon with just one move? Well, I mainly raised Metagross in an attack-wise battle style, so its defense stats aren't that high. Also, your do-at looks trained well, so that's another factor as well. Alexis answered, embarrassed that she overlooked her training style. That was a good battle, I hope we can have another one in the future, Ash said as he extended his hand. Likewise, Tara, well, good luck in the tournament. Hey Alexis said as her face grew slightly red. I'm going to be staying here until the end of the tournament, so I was wondering if you wanted to do something sometime or maybe hang out. I don't see why not. Sure, Ash answered. Pikachu looked at its trainer with a, you have got to be FNG kidding me look. Pikachu had really got sick of Ash's density to these kind of situations. Oh, that's great. Alexis squealed, pulling Ash into a tight hug. Here's my number, I'm staying across town at the Sunset Hills Hotel, room 103, so yeah, I'll be seeing you, she said as she quickly ran off. Her face a deep shade of red as her thoughts began to go wild. Well, I wonder how Clement's battle went, Ash said as he sat in the lobby in the Pokemon Center with Serena. I wonder what Pokemon he dash, Ash said, but was cut off as the T.V turned on by a few teens as they wanted to see a certain green-haired trainer battle. Welcome all to the 47 match of the preliminary matches. Competing are Jackson Frost and the Prince of Hoenn, Drew Larus. The ref yelled, but the mic was ripped out of his hands by the green-haired jackass. It is I, Drew, I will win this battle for the Princess of Hoenn and my beautiful girlfriend May Maple. I love you, honey. Drew said as he blew a kiss to May, who was in the front row of the stands, who caught the kiss and out her fingers to her lips. I love you too, Drew, forever and always, May shouted, giving her boyfriend support. Well then, I guess that's my cue, Ash said as he stood up and walked outside with Serena in tow. Ash, are you okay? Serena asked as she worried for his friend even more since he had never seen something like this before. I don't know why, but that I'm fine actually, he answered. He was just as shocked at what he said as Serena was. Ash then reached into his pocket and pulled out his poke gear that he had gotten from Professor Sycamore and dialed someone's number. Wonder if she'll pick up, Ash wondered. Ash, who are you calling? Serena asked, confused. Even Pikachu was a bit skeptical as to what was going on. I'm calling that girl I met before, Alexis. Ash said with a nervous smile. Pikachu's jaw dropped to the floor in shock. Was his trainer, Ash Ketchum, calling a girl for an undetermined reason? Serena's reaction was different from the Electric Mouse's. She felt a pang of jealousy in her heart. She didn't know why or where it came from. What does it matter to me? Ash is just calling a girl, it's not a big deal. I wonder if he likes her more than a friend. No, that's impossible. They just met, and even if she did, why would I care? It's not like I like Ash that way, she thought. Her blue eyes were full of confusion and pain. I'm probably just tired, I mean that I nightmare defiantly took a lot out of me. What is there a problem with that, Pikachu? Ash asked as his eyes narrowed, glaring daggers at the Electric Mouse. I'm just going to take her up on that offer she made earlier. Besides, it could be fun. Pikachu became dizzy and passed out as he realized what Ash had said. Serena, however, felt her heart beginning to beat faster as thoughts raced throughout her head. What offer, she wondered, but before she could ask, a voice came out of the Pokegear speakers. Hello. May I ask who's calling? Came a female voice from the voice. Hey Alexis, it's me, Tara. Oh hey Tara. What's up? My schedule's empty right now, so I thought I'd take up your offer and hang out with you, Ash said, that is if it's okay with you. Oh sure. She answered immediately with an over-enthusiastic voice. She realized she sounded a bit too excited and decided to tone it down. Well, where should we meet up? Let's meet up at the park near the Pokemon Center. We'll be waiting at the Growlithe statue, Ash said. Okay, I'll see you there, she said, but immediately realized something she wasn't expecting to hear. Wait, shy, did you say? Dash, she started but was cut short as Ash hung up. Come on Serena, let's go, Asha said. Wait, why? She asked with a confused face as a million thoughts raced throughout her head, most of them being negative opinions of the new girl she hadn't met yet. I'm not going to leave you high and dry here, besides the more the merrier, he said with a cheeky grin. Time skip, 20 minutes location, Growlithe statue in Jade Park. What's taking her so long? Ash asked Serena, but she only shrugged her shoulders. I don't know, maybe she got Dash, Serena said, but was cut off by someone else's voice. Hey Tara, Alexis said as she walked up to him. She wore a beautiful strapless red dress and a pair of heels on. She then noticed Serena, who stood really close to Ash. Her heart at that moment shattered to pieces. Who is this? Is she Ash's girlfriend? Alexis thought to herself. Well, only one way to find out. She pretended to not take notice Serena and walked up to Ash and gave him a quick peck on the cheek. She pulled away and said, Are you ready for our date? Tara. Are you there? Asked Alexis while waving her hands in front of his face. Tara. Ash just stood as still as a statue in a trance-like state. He was in shock. A girl kissed him and said that they were on a date. That escalated quickly, he thought. He finally snapped out of his trance when Serena clapped her hands in front of his face. Oh hey Alexis, when did you get here? Ash asked, hoping to get off the hook for his mental absence. I've been here for a few minutes Tara, Alexis said, giving Serena a glare. For a moment there I thought you were upset that I was here, but then I remembered that I was wearing this dress and it's obvious that you were just dazzled by my appearance. I mean, who wouldn't? Alexis said while leaning down to Ash's eye level, giving him a clear view at her cleavage. Well, I. Ash said, but was at a loss for words. He was backed into a mental corner with nothing to say. Luckily Serena took care of it. Ash, may I have a word? She said through gritted teeth, glaring at Alexis with her hands balled into fists. When Ash didn't answer, she grabbed his arm tightly and dragged him away from Alexis to have a private chat. Ow Serena, you didn't have to grab me so hard. Ash said in an angry and hurt voice as he rubbed his arm, which had fingernail prints indented into his skin from Serena's rough grip. What the hell, Ash? You brought me along and you are on a date and you didn't tell me. This is the worst possible time for you to do this, with your strong emotions for May and the whole stress of seeing her with that green-haired piece of shit all the time. This is a terrible time to get romantically involved with someone. Much less with someone you just met. Serena scolded him. Her fists were clenched, eyes narrowed, their blue hue full of anger, disappointment and fear. For your information Serena, I am not romantically involved with her and I did not tell her I wanted to go on a date. Calm the F down. Ash yelled furiously as he turned her back to her. Serena just stared at him, her mouth was wide open and her eyes were full of hurt. Did he really just say that? Look Serena, I'm sorry for saying that. It was uncalled for and it was hurtful. I can't believe I said that. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Ash, it's okay, I just wasn't expecting it. Serena said as she walked up to Ash and pulled him into a tight embrace. Once Ash wrapped his arms around her waist, she rested her head on his chest and said, I'm sorry for acting like that, Ash, I was just surprised. That girl is a skank. She thought. Flaunting your body at someone isn't how you make someone fall for you. It's when you are there for that person when they are down, when they need you to be there and you're there, someone who makes you feel special and loved, someone who. Serena thought while resting in Ash's arms. No, I couldn't, could I? I mean, yeah, I had a crush on him when we were kids and during the beginning of our journey through Kalos, but that was then and this is now. Those thoughts from earlier on how to get someone to like you. That's my relationship with Ash in a nutshell. He's always been there for me, even more than I have been for him. He has always cared for me and he is my best friend. But is that enough? Thank you Ash, you're my best friend, she said while she thought, that doesn't feel right. Wait, do I really want just a friendship with Ash? Oh my god, I think that dash. Am I interrupting something, Tara? Remember, we are on a date you don't hug people that aren't your girlfriend, said a very angry Alexis as she intruded on the pair's sweet moment. Alexis, I didn't mean for you to think as this like a date. It's my fault, I should have picked up your hint when we talked at the arena. I don't want to be your girlfriend, sorry, I have a lot going on and I have my eye on someone else. Ash said as he apologized, releasing Serena from the hug. Serena wasn't exactly pleased that someone interrupted their moment. You don't like me, Tara? You like someone else? She said in a low and deadly voice through clenched teeth. Sorry Alexis, I don't see you anything more than a friend. I mean, we just met, but... Eventually I will, but for now I don't, Ash said. Those words ate at Serena like termites devour wood. She actually could have a chance. She thought. I wonder if Dash. Let me guess, you like this ugly beach here, don't you? You like this ugly honey-haired tramp more than me, a girl with beautiful blonde hair, who is standing in front of you with big melons in a skimpy dress, and you still choose her over me? Alexis yelled, infuriated. Who the F do you think you are? Serena is my best friend, she has been there for me more times than I can count. Without her I would probably be dead right now, homeless and sick. She has been here for me every time I needed someone to talk to, someone to have my back, someone to just be there for me. She was there for me when my mom died, when no one else was there to get me through it. She was there when all of my friends betrayed me for him. She is not a beach. Ash yelled. He was really angry. His hands were balled into fists and his fingernails dug into his skin, causing a small amount of blood to drip from the wounds. His eyes were narrowed and showed evident hate for this girl. His teeth were clenched as he grit them against each other. Whatever you say, Tara, to think you would choose that Sienti muffin over this goddess I will never know. Oh, and Serena, take care of this piece worthless child, he is as worthless as his mother. Good job trying to make her proud, Ash, by choosing this slot over M-. Tara yelled, only to be cut off by Serena, who punched Alexis straight in the jaw. She her by the throat and lifted her into the air. She looked eye to eye with Alexis and began to talk to the injured girl. Don't you ever talk to Tara like that, you understand me? Serena asked the girl in a low and deadly voice. Well. Yes, Alexis squeaked. He is not worthless, he is this most amazing guy I have met. Any girl would be over the moon to have a boyfriend like Tara. He certainly doesn't like you, and he obviously doesn't like me that way. Either way you have no business knowing who he likes. Serena yelled violently at her. Serena. Ash whispered to himself. Now here is what you are going to do. I'm going to let you go, when I do you will apologize to Tara for talking about his mother like that. Then I want you to get the F out of here. Serena whispered violently and rapidly to Alexis. Alright Serena, you win. Tara, I'm sorry, you're just as worthless as your dead mother. Alexis yelled the last two words with all her might. Serena then spat on her face and shoved her to the ground. What the F, why did you spit on me? To mark my target, Serena answered. F you, as she kicked Alexis in the jaw. Time skip, 30 minutes. Serena lay in her bed as she came to a conclusion. I'm in love with Ash. Current time, 1:12 a.m. We find our raven-haired hero sitting on a bench in Jade Park by a stream thinking about all the events that happened today. Pikachu. What the F happened today? Ash asked Pikachu. Chew, it said as distressed as his master was. I mean, I met Alexis and she seemed so nice. But it was all an act. I can't believe I'm so stupid and didn't see it coming. To make matters worse, she insulted Serena. I have never seen her so mad. Guess it just goes to you that when you push someone's buttons right, then you won't like the results. Ash chuckled to himself. Pikachu, remember what Serena said about me not liking Alexis or her? Hi, Pikachu answered with a small nod. Pikachu, I don't know why but it's really bugging me that she said that. Is that a bad thing? Ash asked with his eyes full of confusion and worry. Pika. Pikachu choo choo. Pikachu said while shaking its head. Okay Pikachu, I understand it's not a bad thing. Maybe I'm just overthinking it, that I think I know who can help. Lucario, I need your assistance, Ash said while releasing a jackal-like creature from a pokeball. Yes master. Said Lucario. Ash heard the voice in his thoughts, they communicated through aura. Lucario, something is bothering me that happened today. Something that Serena said that I don't understand why I'm feeling off. You know what to do? Ash said with concern evident on his face. Yes master. Lucario said as it closed its eyes. Lucario's body began to give off a blue hue, this was his aura. Master, I believe you are overthinking this, just get some sleep and you will be fine. However master, I noticed that the strong feelings that you have are fading. Have you given up on May? I don't know why Lucario, but I feel like I've drifted away from her to the point that I don't even recognize her anymore. The fact that she is still going out with Bush Boy is enough proof. Even once they learn the truth, I don't think I can handle a relationship with her. I don't know why Lucario, but I told Alexis I liked someone else, that if it's not May then who could it be? Once again Lucario began to glow blue for a minute and resumed communication with Ash. Though you still have strong feelings for May, your feelings for Mistress Serena have grown stronger in the past few weeks. It could be possible that you are falling for her master. What? Me and Serena? No Lucario, she is my best friend. I don't see her as a girlfriend. Well, she is a girl and she is my friend, but I don't see her as my girlfriend. I mean, she is beautiful and anyone would be lucky to date her, but I don't see myself wanting that kind of relationship with her. And what have I told you about calling me master? Master, you have told me not to call you master. Yes, that is correct, so stop calling me master. It will be done master. There is no winning with you Lucario, is there, but I assure you I don't have romantic feelings for Serena. Your heart says otherwise. The heart may be weak at times but it always tells the truth. But if you say you don't like her that way master, then I will respect your decision. Thank you Lucario, take a nice rest. Ash said out loud while smiling as he recalled the aura Pokemon into its Pokeball. I'm glad I met you buddy. Flashback, 4 years, 7 months, and 10 days. 5 days after the death of Delia Ketchum. I still can't believe she's gone. Ash said, his eyes had begun to lose the innocent childlike look they once had. Neither can I Ash, I'm glad I was in coming to visit. I just wish things were different. Said Serena, who had just arrived in Pallet town to see her friend only to see him on his knees holding a dead and burnt Delia in their smoldering yard. To think that Drew did this, just what the heck. I haven't done anything to him and he just randomly shows up saying May is his and kills my mom. What am I going to do? I don't know Ash. Serena said as she rested her hand on Ash's, gently squeezing it, trying to comfort her friend. Hey Ash, I will write back, I'm going to go to the bathroom. Upstairs, 3rd door to the left. Ash sighed as he pulled a blanket that was resting on the couch and tightly wrapped himself in it. He said the 3rd door to the left. Or was it the 2nd door to the right? Serena said as she walked up the stairs. She was about to go back and ask him which it was, but she decided that he needed some alone time. I think it was the 2nd door to the right. Well, here goes nothing. She whispered as she opened the door. As she walked inside she saw a neatly made bed and closed curtains. She could barely make out her surroundings as she walked around. I think this is Mrs. Ketchum's room. Might as well try the other door and dash, Serena said as she began to walk out of the room but bumped into an ironing board. The iron fell to the ground and fell through the floorboards and Serena let out a squeal in fright. She went to open the curtains and once light illuminated the room she went to go access the damage she created. Oh no, that this is bad. I hope Ash won't be dash, Serena said but noticed something that was crammed one of the boards. Ash, can you come here please? Hey Ash, what do you think this is? Serena asked Ash, who was holding a small chest with a keyhole on it. I don't know, did I wonder why Mom hid this from me. Great, it's locked, Ash said as he tried to pry open the box. Suddenly an idea came to Ash. 1 second Serena, I know where the key is. Ash exclaimed as he walked over to the nightstand beside the bed and opened the drawer and pulled out a small key. Ash hurried back over to Serena and picked up the box. Mom always told me that one day she would use this key and told me never to touch it. I hope it works, he said as he inserted the key and turned it, hearing a small click signifying that it was unlocked. Ash opened up the box to examine what was hidden inside it. Inside he saw 3 pokeballs, a letter, and a ring. What the whose are these? Ash said out loud as he picked up the letter. He read it out loud to Serena. Dear Delia. I'm so sorry but I need to go away for a long time. You know how the Pokemon League is, wish I knew what I signed up for back in the day. I don't regret anything, however. If I hadn't became the Kanto League champion then I wouldn't be who I am today. I would never have met the woman who has given me everything, that's you sweetie, and I would not have a beautiful baby boy that I held in my arms. Delia, I said it before and I will say it again, he is perfect, he is so perfect. I wouldn't change him for all the Pokemon, money, and fame in the world. Our baby boy is perfect, we did a good job. I'm glad you agreed with me and gave him the name Ash. I named him Ash hoping that when he grows up he will give people happiness and joy as simple as ash scattering in the wind. Guess like we're keeping the fire tradition, with my father naming me Red hoping I would have the passion of a red-hot flame. I wonder if his first Pokemon will be a Charmander. Regardless of what it is he will do great things in this world. Delia, in these Pokeballs are the Pokemon that we agreed we would give Ash when he turned 10 once he got his starter Pokemon. I hope he gets to meet Blue. I wonder if his son will share a rivalry with Ash as I did with him. That would be ironic. Delia, I need to go now, if they find me here they could hurt you. Team Rocket. That I guess Giovanni didn't disband Team Rocket after all. I love you Delia, forever and always. I hope Ash won't hate me for not being there for him when he is growing up. He probably will, but dare to dream. I love you. Red. Ash dropped the letter as tears appeared in his eyes. I love you Dad, he said as he collapsed to the ground and started to cry. Oh Ash. Serena whispered as she pulled him upright and pulled him into a big hug as he let all his sorrows finally escape in the form of tears. Once Ash had calmed down he walked up to the box and pulled out the Pokeballs. He threw one out and out a tiny yellow mouse. It had little black tufts on its ears but one of the ears was a bit spiky. It had a small tail and stood about 1 foot tall. It cried, Piku Pai Chu. It looked around the room and became frightened when he saw Ash and Serena. It was about to run away until Serena said, Ash, is that a Piku? Piku froze at those words. The word Ash dang through his head as it remembered something its owner once told him. Piku, that I'm Ash Ketchum, Red Son. Piku immediately jumped into Ash's arms and began to nuzzle his cheek until he noticed Pikachu. Then Piku went off to go play with Pikachu. Suddenly a Pokeball randomly opened and a small Pokemon appeared. It stood about 1.4 foot tall and had blue and black features over his body. So you are Master's son, said a voice in Ash's head. That's Aura. Ash said out loud. Ash, what's Aura? Serena asked, confused as to what was going on, hearing no voice. Aura is the essence of all living things. Everything has aura. Some people are able to manipulate aura and use it to their advantage. If you have ever heard the legend of Sir Aaron, then you may know that he was a aura guardian. Ash explained. That's so cool. Serena said. Ash then reached for the third Pokeball and threw it in the air. Out came a small chestnut hedgehog. Chase bin cheese. Dad. Oh Ash, Serena said. Return to current time location, Ash's hotel room. Ash and Pikachu were walking down the hallway but were stopped by a certain brunette. Your name is Tara, right? Dawn asked. Yes, what do you want? Ash said through gritted teeth. Please. Is that you, Ash, she said as she began to silently cry. I am sorry, Tara, it's just since the disappearance of an old friend I have not been who I used to be. I've been diagnosed with PTSD. Just please let me be right. Why the F, do you think I'm this, Ash? Do you think every guy you meet is this guy? Ash asked as he began to feel pity for this girl. Ash Ketchum is dead, you're searching for a ghost. I never told you his last name, Dawn exclaimed as her eyes grew wide. Ash, is that you? Ash, please. Dawn pleaded. Dawn, do you really want to know what happened 4 years ago? Ash asked. Yes, Ash. I need to know why you left. I mean, I know why Dawn said until Ash interrupted. Close your eyes. Ash said. Why? Just do it. Okay, I'm trusting you, Ash. Dawn said as she shut her eyes. Ash walked up to her and his fist glowed blue as he put it on her forehead and, "Good night, Dawn," as he swiped his hand across her forehead. Dawn's body fell to the floor. Wow, she's lighter than I thought, Ash said as he walked into his hotel room with Pikachu as he carried an unconscious Dawn over his shoulder. He walked over to the sofa and literally dropped her on it as her body made a soft thud upon impact. Pikachu, do you think I'm ready to do this alone? I mean, if I don't, she will go and tell the others, and if I can't do it, I could have an unconscious female passed out in my room, and I'm assuming the police wouldn't believe me if I said we were having a sleepover. Ash said while chuckling. Pikachu. You think I'm ready? I mean, last time I tried alone I drained myself of energy and was in a coma for 3 weeks. Do you think I'm ready? He asked as he had a look of concern on his face. Pika pie. Pikachu cheered as he nodded his head and pumped his little paw into the air. Okay, Pikachu, I'm trusting you, buddy. If I do fail again, then get Lucario. Ash said as he walked over to his backpack and pulled on a pair of gloves. Hey Pikachu, when was the last time I wore Sir Aaron's gloves? Ash asked with a smirk on his face as he pulled them over his hands. Pika. Pikachu said as it dropped its head in shame. Oh yeah. Sorry about that again, Pikachu, I know you wanted that crate of ketchup. Ash said as he nervously rubbed the back of his head. Okay Pikachu, be back in a flash. Ash said as he scratched Pikachu behind his ears, earning an affectionate coo from the little mouse. Ash got up and walked over to Dawn's limp body. Here goes nothing, Ash thought. He held his hands side by side, creating a small ball of pure aura. He then took control of the life energy in one hand and rested it on Dawn's head. He whispered 2 words. Memory link. Dream world, Dawn. Where am I? Dawn asked out loud only to not get an answer. She looked around her, she floated in an endless void of darkness, unable to see anything. Hello? Dawn yelled to nobody, only she wasn't expecting a response. A bright light flashed and Dawn found herself whisked away to an empty field. She looked around and noticed a boy walked towards her. Hi Dawn. Ash said, his voice devoid of emotion, his eyes seemed lifeless, yet here he was, speaking to her. He wore his Kalos attire and was waiting for Dawn to respond. Ash, it really is you. Dawn squealed as she ran up to Ash to give him a hug, only to run into an invisible barrier. Wait. What? You said you wanted to know the truth, correct? Ash asked. Yes, Ash. I need to see what really happened. I know you wouldn't do that, I still have doubts that Drew would do it, so then who did? Dawn asked. Wait, that you said it was Drew, so May would abandon him, didn't you? Dawn yelled, becoming furious. No. If you would shut your FNG mouth, I can show you what that scum did. How he ruined my life. How he took everything away from me. Ash said in a monotonic voice. Dawn surprised by how calm Ash was. Suddenly another light blinded Dawn and she was brought somewhere else. Location, Pallet Town, Ketchum residence. The day of Delia Ketchum's death. Dawn found herself in Ash's backyard and saw Ash and her mother talking about something. Of course Stefan wouldn't tell you his wish. If he did it wouldn't have come true, Ash, said Delia. Dawn couldn't help but smile at the sight of Ash's mother. She was such a beautiful woman and it was a shame that she wasn't residing in this world anymore. Suddenly she felt a strong gust of wind and she saw a man with a fedora on his head covering his facial appearance arrive on a flygon. Drew has a flygon. Dawn said to herself, starting to have mixed emotions about trusting him over Ash. Suddenly she heard Delia yell at the man. She could tell that Delia was pretty set off. What does this have to do with my husband? Delia shouted, demanding an answer. She was furious, her eyes burned with hate as the man mocked not only her son but her husband. Why do you defend him, Delia? He left you. He left you and your child. He never fathered him, he just vanished. What does that tell you? He doesn't love his son and he certainly wouldn't care what happens to either of you. Why else would he have left you after Ash was born? You know nothing of my husband. He had his reasons to leave. He didn't abandon us, he told me he was leaving. He told me why and I said he could. So how dare you mock my husband? Delia yelled, tears leaked from her eyes. She was enraged, she wanted this man to burn in hell. Whatever you say, Delia. I'd love to stay and chat but time for me to finish this. Hey Ash, how does it feel that you've lost your father but now you're going to lose your mother? The man bellowed. His voice was deep and was full of hate. Flygon, end this. Use flamethrower on the Ketchums and let them burn. Dawn couldn't believe her eyes. Ash told the truth, he didn't kill his mother. Whoever this man is with the flygon did, Dawn thought, but her thoughts were cut short by a scream. Ash, look out! Delia screamed in terror. Ash stood still, fear paralyzingly even muscle in his body. Delia then ran to her son and with all the strength she possessed she pushed Ash out of the range of flamethrower. Mom, no! Ash screamed, shaking in anger. Tears were in his eyes, his fists were clenched, his fingernails digging into his skin. God damn it! The man yelled. Stupid beach! Look what you've done! You've ruined everything! Flygon began to ready another flamethrower until his master raised a hand. No, Flygon. I have a better idea, he said as he approached Ash. How does it feel, Ash? Your mother is dead all because of you. I think this is a far more suitable punishment for a failure like you, the man said. Ash collapsed to the ground. His eyes burned from the tears that fell freely to the ground. Pika Pika. Pikachu. Pikachu yelled, unleashing a powerful thunderbolt at the man. Flygon. Flygon cried as it landed in front of its trainer to protect him from the lethal attack. Flygon, Flygon. It muttered. Tears began to well up in her eyes at the sight of Delia laying there slowly dying as she saw her son crying over her body only to be insulted by a horrible man. What the F is wrong with you? Dawn screamed at the man. She waited for a response and got none. Hey, I'm talking to you, she said as she walked up to the man. She was expecting him to hurt her but he simply walked straight through her like a ghost as he made his way to his flygon. What? Dawn said but was cut off by a flash of light and the Ash she knew appeared. Dawn, this isn't real, it's the past. They can't see you or hear you. We are non-existing entities in this world, Ash said to her as he looked at his younger self and his mother. Tears slowly dripped from his eyes as he looked at Dawn and said, look, as he pointed to Delia. Ash. Came a voice. It was faint and was very weak. After this came a raspy cough. Mom! Ash yelled as he turned around and ran to his mother, kneeling down and holding her burnt body in his arms. Mom, it's going to be okay, we're going to get you help. Ash cried in a very raspy voice. Ashy, I'm sorry, but my time is up, sweetie. I want you to remember these 3 things. Delia said, her voice just above a whisper. Mom, don't talk like that. Please. Ash cried, laying his head in his mother's shoulder. Ash, please be strong. If I'm leaving this world, I need to tell you these 3 things, they are more important than you think. She said, coughing as the words came out. 1. Ash, this was not your fault. You did everything you could do. She said. Her voice was strained, Ash could tell there wasn't much time left. 2. I want you to know that both your father and I are very, very proud of you. We love you so much, Ash. Don't ever forget that. She said. She put her hand on his cheek and slowly pulled herself up and kissed it. 3. Ash. This is my last chance to tell you about your father. Your father is an amazing man. When you were born, he held you in his arms and he had the biggest smile on his face. Tears began to leak from her eyes. Ash, it's time I told you who your father is. Ash dash, she began as coughed up some blood. Your father's name is Red. She said. And one last time she muttered, I love you, Ash, and her body went limp. No. Mom. Ash screamed and began to have a mental breakdown. Tears began to stream down both Ash and Dawn's faces. Ash, I'm so sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm dash. Shut up. Ash yelled. If you even want to have a fine chance of redemption and keep your DMN thoughts to yourself, he spat at her, his voice full of enough venom to out an Arbok to shame. Dawn then turned her attention back to the memory. You. This is your fault. Ash said, running at the man, tackling him to the ground. I am going to kill you. Ash yelled, preparing to punch the man. The man kicked Ash off of him and stood up. His hat on the ground. Ash's mouth was open with shock. His facial expression showed 3 things. Sorrow, hate, and disbelief. The man that stood before him, green hair accompanied by a set of emerald eyes. He stood about 6.1 feet and his face had a slash on it that closely reassembled that of a knife wound. The man turned around and mounted Flygon and flew away into the clouds. The sky grew dark as rain bore down on the shattered boy. Lightning lit the sky and you could see the boy's face was full of discomfort. He fell to his knees, punched the ground and sobbed once again. Pikachu stood right next to his friend and shed tears of his own. Dawn just stood there with tears streaming down her face, her eyes full of sorrow and hated, her mouth opened wide. Well, Dawn, that's what happened. Drew killed my mother. How shitty do you feel right now? Ash asked, his voice once again devoid of emotion. So shitty you wouldn't believe. Dawn whispered. I can't believe I was so stupid. I knew I should have trusted you, I knew it. My gut told me to trust you, but my head was full of disbelief. That isn't an excuse, however. Dawn, do me a favor and shut up, Ash said. It's harder than it looks to actually share memories with someone. I could be in a coma right now. Once again a bright light engulfed the duo as they traveled 5 days later. Dreamworld time skip, 5 days after the death of Delia. Location, Professor Oak's lab. And, this will be a flashback. There will be no communication between Ash and Dawn, who are watching this memory. Ash, how are you feeling? Asked Serena, who squeezed his hand trying to comfort Ash. As good as I can be. He answered as he sighed and walked outside. I hope he is okay, Tselian, said a girl with purple hair that was tied in pigtails. She a cream shirt that had long sleeves with pink cuffs and a pink collar, a pink skirt with a large pink ribbon tied around her waist. Well, Iris, he just lost his mother, he is holding up as best he can, said Tselian. He wore a white shirt, a black vest with gold buttons, a green bow tie, black pants, and brown shoes. I know, but... Iris said as she decided to end the conversation on that note. Poor Ash, said Dawn. She wore a black with a white undershirt inside a V-shaped neck with a short pink skirt. On her head, she wears a white beanie with a pink pokeball print on it. She also wore her pink knee-high boots. On her wrist was her pink Poketch, which she obtained in the beginning of her journey in Jubilife City. Dawn, what did you think? That Ash was going to be all cheery. He just lost his Fenji mother, said Paul, who wore a blue sports jacket and gray jeans. Come on Paul, chill out, said Misty. She wore her traditional yellow crop top and jean shorts held up with red suspenders. Yeah Paul, we are here to support Ash, not be negative like that, said the Pokemon watcher Tracy, who wore green t-shirt with brown shorts. Wrapped around his head was an orange headband. Whatever, sketch it. Bottom line is that Ash's mother is dead. There is no changing that, so don't expect him to have his usual happy-go-lucky attitude. And whoever was the dirty little fucker that killed her will have to deal with me, said Paul as he walked out of the lab and went outside. I can't imagine the pain Ash must feel right now, said a now 10-year-old Max. He had just gotten his starter Pokemon Trico and had already obtained 2 more Pokemon, the Ralts he befriended in the beginning of his travels with Ash and a Slakoth that his father had given him. He still wore his traditional green t-shirt accompanied by green and brown sneakers, black glasses, and his brown shorts. Well Max, I bet he is. Delia was a wonderful woman. Ash always couldn't wait to come home after each journey and the first thing he did was give his mom a big hug, said Brock. I've known Mrs. Ketchum since I was a little kid. The fact that she is gone is just as bad as losing Daisy or Gramps, said Gary. Serena got up and walked over to a distressed May, her face was full of worry and concern. She noticed Serena and said, Who are you? I'm one of Ash's friends, my name is Serena. You're May, right? Yes, why? I've always wanted to meet you. Ash talked about you all the time during his journeys during Hoenn, Sinnoh, and Unova. May's face began to glow a light shade of red at this realization of how important she was to Ash. Ash is important to me as well, Serena. He has always been there for me, he holds a special place in my heart, May said as she moved her hand to where her heart was. Well, does someone have a crush? Serena asked while giggling. May's face grew dark crimson. No Serena, I don't have a crush on him. Oh. Serena muttered. Poor Ash, she thought. I love him, May said. Serena's eyes grew large as she took in what she had said. Oh Ash, I'm going to be so happy. May, I think if anyone can help him right now it's you. He is outside near Delia's casket. Serena said. Oh okay. Mom, why did you have to go? Ash whispered as he fell to his knees and began to cry. He was right, Drew was right. It was all my fault. If only I had moved, then Mom would still be here with me and I wouldn't be out here, alone, scared, and missing you, he thought. Ash, are you okay? Came a voice from behind. Ash turned his body to face May as he began to cry on her shoulder. Why May, why did she have to go? Ash asked while sobbing onto her shoulder. Ash, I can't even fathom the pain you're going through right now. The things she told you before she died were just so too much, one moment she is there with me, next she isn't. It happened so fast. Ash said. Hey May, did I ever told you about my father? No. To be honest, this is the first time I've ever heard you even talk about him. Well, aside from you know. My dad was red. Red. Wait, red? May asked, stunned. Yes, why Mom said that he would be proud of me no matter what I got myself into. Bet he isn't proud of me being incapable of saving his wife. Ash, don't say that. May said. Your dad loves you, just like your mom did. Ash, you are just as good. No, you're better than Red. You're amazing, Ash. Never in my life have I met anyone like you. May said. You mean that, May? Of course I do. May said with a bright smile on her face. Ash, you have no clue how much you mean to me, you are one of my closest friends. Ash, you are special, one of the kind. Nothing can ever tear us apart. Thanks, May. Ash said. He was released from the hug and said, "Let's go back inside." Then he kissed her on the cheek and walked at an increased pace back to the lab, leaving May frozen in place. He kissed me. Maybe he does love me. Ash walked into the lab but was alerted when he heard Pikachu launch a thunderbolt and then heard everyone yelling in panic. Ash ran into the room and looked at his friends were lined up in front of Ash, not allowing Ash to see what was happening. "Pikachu, what are you doing?" Ash yelled as he pushed through his friends only to see something that made something inside him snap. In front of him stood Drew Larus, the man who killed his mother. "You!" Ash yelled as he charged at Drew and tried to land a punch on him, but Drew simply sidestepped him and watched the enraged teen landed on the ground. "You have the nerve, Ash," said slowly, standing up, "to come to my mother's funeral after what you did." "Ash, what the F are you doing?" Gary yelled. "What am I doing? What am I doing?" Ash yelled, infuriated at his friends. "Ash, that's Drew." May yelled as she ran into the room. "I know. He is the sad sack of crap that killed my mom," Ash said angrily. "He did what?" Gary said, turning his attention to the green-haired coordinator. "Oh please Ash, is that what you told them?" asked Drew. "What do you mean, Drew?" asked May, who was completely out of loop. "Oh, that he killed his mother." "What?" everyone yelled in surprise, including Ash. "You disgust me, Drew. Now you're lying to my friends." "Pikachu, you dash." "Ash, what the hell?" Gary yelled. "What? You can't just randomly attack people." "Yeah, but Dash." "Ash, shut up for a minute," Drew said as he walked up to May. "What happened was that I participated in a contest in Pallet Town a few days ago. When I was leaving I heard a scream and I ran to investigate, and what do I find? Ash having his pig night attack Delia." "You lying piece of Dash." "Ash, you can't lie to them," Drew said. "May, next, this is the worst part. His mother says she loves him despite what he did, and he told her to rot in hell." "Drew, I'm warning you, get the F. Ash, you can't hide the truth." "Everyone look at me," Drew said. "Look, my clothes are torn to bits. He had his Pikachu use Iron Tail on me once he noticed me, and he tried to eliminate me so no one would find out the truth. Then he had Pignite use Flamethrower on me. That's why I'm burnt like this. I can't believe you are this pathetic." Ash yelled. "You kill my mother, come to her funeral, lie to my friends, and to top it all off you say I killed her." Ash marched up to Drew and looked him dead in the eye and said, "If you think my friends would believe that kind of bullshit, then you have another thing coming." Ash then took notice of everyone had tears in their eyes. "Guys? Is everything Dash?" Ash said, confused, until a certain brunette walked up to him and slapped him across the face and screamed. "How could you?" May said. "May," Ash said, astonished. Why you don't really believe him, do you?" I just why?" May cried. "May, I didn't." "Come on Max, you believe me, right?" Ash. "Why would you do this?" Max said, his hands balled into fists. "To think I looked up to you. How stupid was I to think you were actually a good role model." Ash then turned to Dawn. "Dawn, please, you know I wouldn't do this, right?" Dawn stood there, her face unhealthily pale, tears streamed down her face as she looked at him and just stared at him. Ash. "Why? Dawn, please. You just have to believe me." I'm sorry, Ash." Ash then looked at Tracy and Misty and said, "Tracy, come on. We did so many amazing things together. You have been in Pallet Town for a long time. You know I wouldn't do this. Misty, you're one of my best friends, you know I wouldn't kill my mom, right?" Ash. Why would you do this?" Tracy said as he lifted his hand to his head and clutched it, obviously having a migraine from the stress. Ash. I just why?" Misty yelled as she fell to her knees and began to cry uncontrollably. Ash turned to Iris and Scylla. "Scylla, you guys know I wouldn't do this, right? I mean, we did so many fun things in Unova, you just gotta believe me." "I'm sorry, Ash. But the evidence is too obvious." I don't want to, but what Drew has told us is accurate as to the condition of both Delia and him, said Scylla. Ash. I know I always said you were a kid, but I never thought you would be a murderer. Iris yelled. Ash then turned to Gary and said, Gary, we've been childhood friends and rivals since we could crawl. You need to believe me. Please. Shut up, Ash. I can't believe you would do this. Gary yelled as he gritted his teeth in rage. Brock, you have traveled with me since I began my journey. You have watched me grow into who I am now. You have to believe me, please. Ash, well, I was wrong. Guess you're not the person we thought you were. Serena couldn't believe what she was hearing. She ran to Ash's side to defend her friend. You guys, are you crazy? This is Ash. How many times has he risked his life to save your lives? His Pokemon's lives, your Pokemon's lives, even total strangers. He always has tried to save everyone. He has a heart of gold and you guys have the gall to not trust him. Serena yelled, infuriated. Serena, I know we just met, but really, you don't actually believe this killer, do you? Drew said with an arrogant smirk on his face. Serena then walked up to Drew and slapped him across the face. Drew screamed in pain from his burns and fell to the ground clutching his injured cheek. Serena, what is wrong with you? You could have hurt Drew even more. Don't tell me you believe Ash over him. May said. I can't believe you, May. Out of everyone here I would expect you to believe him. Serena yelled back at her. So Drew, you had this planned out, didn't you? Said Paul, who walked into the room with a look of hatred in his eyes. What are you talking about, Paul? That you killed Delia. No, I didn't. I saw what you did today in the forest. Drew's body tensed as Paul said that. I don't know what you're talking about. Well then let me refresh your memory, Paul said. Flashback 20 minutes ago. Paul's perspective. Paul walked down the stone steps of the lab as he was about to take leave of Pallet Town until he heard someone's voice. Roserade, use Razor Leaf. Must just be someone having a Pokemon battle or something, Paul said, but stopped dead in his tracks when he heard the man say, Flygon, now use a weak flamethrower on me. What the F dash? Paul said as he walked over to the bushes and his eyes widened in disbelief at what he saw. Drew Larus stood there and took a direct flamethrower to his body and screamed in pain. Thank you, Flygon, return, Drew said as he called the dragon back to its Pokeball. What is he up to? Paul wondered as he stood up and walked over to Drew. Hey Flower Boy. I knew you had a few screws loose, but this takes the cake. What are you doing? Roserade, use Grass Whistle. Drew said calmly. Wait. What? Paul said as he realized something was wrong. I got to get out of here, he thought as he began to run away, but heard the soft melody emitted from Roserade and passed out. Wow, Paul, never thought Ketchum actually planned on me coming here, so when did he tell you that? Drew said, amused that his plan was working. F dash. Said Paul. So everyone, even now, you doubt Ash. He has been there for you every time you needed help, and this is how you repay him. By taking Bushhead's word over Ash's. Hey, don't call him Bushhead. May yelled. Enough. Ash yelled. He walked up to her and began to pour his heart out to her. May, we've been through so much, please, you need to believe me. May, I love you with every fiber in my body, Ash said and paused for a moment before continuing. May, don't you remember what you said earlier? You said I was special and nothing could tear us apart. Please, May, you have to believe me. May just stood there with her fists clenched. F you, Ash. Ash's eyes widened as she said that, May, please. Ash, I was wrong, May said, her eyes full of hate. I thought you were special, and hell was I wrong. You're nothing but a low life. You're no better than Team Magma. Oh yeah, who could forget about Team Aqua? Not to mention Team Rocket. And hell, what you did is just as bad as any of their crimes. Ash, you are a monster. May. Please. Ash. You are nothing like your father. You are nowhere similar to him. You are worthless, you kill your mom and pin it on Drew. You say you love me, ha, that's funny. You set this whole thing up so you could make Drew look bad in front of me. Well, too bad. You are nothing like Red, never have and never will. Ash just stared at everyone in disbelief. How could you? Ash thought as tears fell from his face dripping to the floor creating a soft, pitter-patter. Ash turned and ran out of the room crying, leaving everyone in the room to their own thoughts. Well then, you guys. You never deserved to be friends with Ash, said Paul as he walked out of the lab. I can't believe you all right now. You just I need to go. I can't stand to see the sight of any of you, Serena yelled as she ran out of the room and went to search for her friend. Memory link disabled. Dawn and Ash woke up and stood up. Dawn stood there as tears ran down her face. Ash. I am so sorry. Dawn, get out of here. No. Yes. No, I'm not leaving you again. Ash, I can't believe I was so stupid. Dawn, get out. Ash, give me 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes to try to earn your forgiveness. If you still hate me, I will leave and never bother you again. I won't tell anyone who you are, I promise, Dawn pleaded as tears reappeared in her eyes. Ash looked at her for a minute contemplating on what to do. You have 5 minutes, the clock's ticking. You have 5 minutes, the clock is ticking, Ash said emotionless. Thank you so much, Ash. Dawn cheered as she ran up to give her friend a hug, but he held his hand out signifying that he did now want to be touched. 4 minutes 30 seconds. Ash said as he began to feel that Dawn was going to wing this own thing. Why did I even give her a chance to redeem herself? Ash thought. Ash. What I did was terrible, Dawn said as her voice began to trail off. Know what? Forget it, Ash, I had this planned out since I realized my mistake at the end of the funeral and had memorized an apology. Forget it, something like that is. It wouldn't be fair to you, I'm going to speak from my heart, Dawn said in a very serious voice, taking Ash by surprise. I didn't expect her to act this way. Ash thought as he began to question his judgment on the brunette. Ash, what I did back then is unforgivable. The fact that you are even giving me this chance to earn forgiveness is just that I don't deserve this, and here I am, I haven't even apologized yet, I'm just rambling on about all this. Whatever it is. Ash, nothing I say or do will ever make up for what I did. In your weakest moment when you needed a friend the most, I turned my back on you. And no, Ash, I'm not even going to try to defend myself or victimize myself, cause all in all it was my fault. I used poor judgment and trusted essentially a total stranger over my teacher, no, my best friend. Ash, I looked at you like a brother, and after all you have done for me I stabbed you in the back. I mean, you taught me everything I know about Pokemon. You traveled with me through all of Sinnoh earning badges, and you made time for me to participate in contests. You could have easily just said no, but you didn't. I wouldn't be the coordinator I am today without you. You saved me so many times, from Darkrai, from Arceus, from Giratina, from Palkia, from Dialga, everything. You didn't even ask for anything in return. You didn't ask for a reward after you did all this noble deeds. You just continued to live your life as if nothing had happened and just treated everyone equally. Dawn said as tears began to leak from her eyes. Dawn. Ash thought before saying, 2 minutes. Ash, after all of this, everything we went through, all the joys we shared together, I threw away. It doesn't have mattered how many people trusted Drew over you. I believed him over my best friend. I can't pin this on anyone but myself. This wasn't Brock's fault, it wasn't May's fault, it was no one's fault but my own. I have effectively ruined our friendship. You mean so much to me, Ash, but after what I did I can easily tell no matter what I do, no matter how many times I say sorry, nothing will change. In the end I betrayed my best friend Ash Ketchum. Ash, I'm not going to say sorry, my words are probably worthless to you. I betrayed you. Dawn said while her voice began to falter from its usual cheeriness. Tears flowed from her eyes freely, meeting no resistance. Time's up, Ash whispered. Goodbye Ash, Dawn said as she turned and began to head for the door until something grabbed her arm and turned her around. When she saw Ash, he had tears in his eyes, his lips quivered rapidly. Dawn. Ash, I'm so sorry, Dawn whispered but was very surprised when Ash pulled her onto a tight hug and sobbed on her shoulder. Dawn, all this time I've been alone, consumed with hatred for you guys. I don't want that feeling anymore, Dawn. Ash cried as his voice began to crack under eye pressure. All this time I have felt this pain. I hate it, I don't want it anymore. He sobbed. Oh Ash, Dawn said in a hushed tone as she returned the distraught boy's embrace. Just let it all out, Ash. I'm here and this time I'm not going away. Ash continued to sob on Dawn's shoulder for another 5 minutes as he told her the numerous things the event had caused him. Once he had finally calmed himself, he released Dawn from the hug and stepped a few paces back. Dawn, that I forgive you. Ash whispered. What? Daw. Said, astonished by what Ash had said. What? Dawn said, astonished by what Ash had said. Dawn, I forgive you. Ash. Thank you. I know I don't deserve this, but thank you. Dawn cheered as she felt something she hadn't felt in the past 4 years. Pure happiness. That's right, you don't. Ash said, but then continued his statement. Dawn, I was not expecting you to say those things. You truly spoke from your heart and that's why I have forgiven you. Don't expect me to be all buddy-buddy with you right away though. I didn't think you would. Dawn said tearfully. An idea suddenly struck Ash and he immediately decided to take advantage of the situation at hand. Dawn, you want to know how you can redeem yourself? Ash asked. Of course, Ash. Anything for you, Dawn said with a burning passion in her eyes. Get me close to the old group. If I am going to expose Drew, then I need to gain their trust. I can't just randomly go knocking people cause, well, I'm pretty sure that's a hate crime. No problem, Ash, so any idea on how to approach this? Dawn asked. You have no idea. As the sun rose, we find our newly redeemed Blunette unable to fall asleep, the visions from earlier that night still haunting her. I can't believe Drew did that to Ash, Dawn said to herself in a hushed tone. I'm so lucky he forgave me. I know I don't deserve it, but he actually did. Drew will pay for what he has done. Oh wait, I almost forgot. She exclaimed as she pulled out a pokeball and sent out a small blue penguin. Piplup. The little penguin cried as it stretched and let out a yawn. Piplup, guess what? Dawn said in an excited manner, causing the tiny penguin to speculate as to why his trainer was so happy. Ash is back. She whispered as she let out a fangirl squeal. I apologized to him, Piplup, and he forgave me. Piplup's eyes opened wide in shock, the raven-haired boy. That gave her trainer so much joy has finally returned. Piplup. It cried in joy as it leaped into Dawn's arms. Piplup. Dawn whispered as the world around her began to fade away as she let herself succumb to sleep. Time skip, 5 hours time, 9:37. Pikachu, do you think I did the right thing forgiving Dawn? Ash asked his faithful companion. Ash had his hood pulled over his face as he began to doubt his choice about forgiving Dawn. Pika. Pika pika, pai pai chu. Pikachu said as it rubbed his friend's cheek with his own. Thanks Pikachu, Ash said with a smile hidden from view. I think I did the right thing, besides now I have a way to get close to them. Ash's mind began to wander and revisit the past. His hands grew tense and he began to ball them into fists until the familiar voice of a little girl interrupted his thoughts. Hey Ash, where are you going? Serena and Clement are looking for you. Asked Bonnie. She wore a yellow t-shirt accompanied by black shorts. She had her traditional satchel over her shoulder and her best friend poked his little head out of it. Deden asked, hoping to help out his trainer. Sorry Bonnie, I have something I need to take care of. I need to find something I lost a long time ago. Ash said as his voice began to grow cold. Can I come with you? Clement said I had to come back when I found you, but he said when I did that I had to help him test another one of his inventions. Bonnie pleaded as she put on a pair of puppy dog eyes, hoping the Kanto native wouldn't send her back. Ash chuckled at the thought of his friend's dysfunctional experiments. They always broke one way or another, and Bonnie was always the first one to sass the blonde-haired inventor. "Okay Bonnie, but first tell me something," Ash said as he continued his statement. "What did Clement do this time, Elle?" "He made something he called the Magnetrizer 3.2.0, Bonnie said. It will supposedly absorb the electromagnetic pulses given off by the sun and provide electricity to his other inventions, and it will guarantee success." "I can see why you wanted to get out of there," Ash said as he laughed. "Clement always did have fantastic luck with." Ash started but couldn't keep a straight face and laughed at the thought of something Clement made working. "Okay Ash, I get it, my either can't make anything that doesn't end up becoming crap," Bonnie pouted. "Bonnie, remember what we talked about, you shouldn't talk like that. Remember, every time you a puppy dies," Ash said in a serious yet playful tone. "Whatever Ash," she replied, rolling her eyes. "Okay Bonnie, let's get going. If I'm going to find that thing, then I have to get there before it gets away." "It's a person, isn't it Ash?" "Don't worry, it will be our secret since you saved me from becoming Clement's test dummy." "Thanks, let's go." As Ash and Bonnie arrived at their destination, Bonnie began to grow interested in who Ash was looking for. "Hey Ash, why are we at the stadium? What is so important that's here?" Bonnie asked, hoping for an answer. "Someone I need to talk to," Ash said as his face had a look of determination on it. "Why do you ask?" "Well, I mean, who are you looking for?" asked Bonnie as she began to grow agitated at Ash dodging the question. "The winner of the battle," Ash said. "Ash, in case you haven't noticed, the battle just started. There is no way of knowing who will win," Bonnie said as she began to grow agitated to a further extent. "Trust me Bonnie, I know that this guy will win. There is no way he will be eliminated this early, and especially not until we have a battle," Ash said as he began to walk into the entrance. "Ash, why didn't we go to the stadium?" asked Bonnie as she grew confused once again. "Because we aren't here to watch the battle, we are going to the lockers," Ash answered as he walked into the locker room. "Why are things never simple with you?" Bonnie asked with a playful hint of sarcasm in her voice. "Bonnie, why don't you just keep your thoughts to yourself?" Ash scolded the young girl. "Really, one of these days your mouth will get you in a lot of trouble, he said before the television hanging from the ceiling interrupted him. "Harold Scholark is unable to battle. The winner is Paul Slade from Veilstone City." "Paul. Guess I was right, no way in hell he would lose this early," Ash muttered to himself, only to have been heard by the rookie trainer. "Ash, who is Paul?" asked Bonnie. "Paul is a rival and friend of mine. We go back to when I was traveling through the Sinnoh region," Ash said as he began to reminisce on his rival's cruelness towards others. "Paul and I we didn't exactly get along. We were always at each other. I actually beat him during the Sinnoh League," Bonnie, Ash told the young girl. "Yeah, and that's the only time you have beaten me," said a man with dark gray hair who walked into the room. "You and I both know that I kicked your butt more times than I can count." "Whatever Paul," Ash said, "how have you been?" "Really, Ketchum?" Paul said in a stern tone, "After all this time, after disappearing off the face of the planet for 4 years, the first thing you say is, 'Paul, how have you been doing?'" "Yes. Yes, I am. You haven't changed at all, you are still that stupid little kid from Kanto I met 5 years ago." Bonnie was about to butt in and give Paul a piece of her mind, but was surprised when both trainers began to laugh. What? Why the hell are you laughing, Ash? He insulted you." Bonnie growled hostilely. "I assume that this one has a foul mouth," Paul said as he stopped laughing. "Well, I wouldn't say a foul mouth," Ash chuckled while rolling his eyes. "Let's just say that she has a unique vocabulary. Anyways, Ketchum, you disappear for 4 years and you come to me. What do you want?" asked Paul. "Always straight and to the point, aren't you, Paul?" Ash said as he inwardly laughed at the Sinnoh native's predictability. "Can't I just drop in and say hi?" Ash, you and I both know that is a giant load of Toro's sheet. I want it back. Flashback, 4 years ago, 5 hours after funeral. Ash ran through Route 1 as rain continuously poured down on him as he ran. Gotta run, need to get away from Pallet, need to get away from them, need to get away from her, he said as anger began to consume his thoughts. He arrived at a large and dying tree and he stared at it in horror. No dash, he began. No, 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 and no. Pidgeot. Where are you? Ash yelled out loud, desperate for a response. Suddenly a high-pitched cry snapped a distressed Ash out of his thoughts. A large bird made itself visible to the boy. Its plumage was brown with a cream underbelly. On its head was a red and yellow crest and red tail feathers. It had black markings around its eyes and its wings were spread as it flapped them to stay afloat in the air. Pidgeot, it shrilled as it landed in front of Ash and nuzzled its head against his. Pidgeot, it's been forever since I've seen you. Ash cried as he stroked the bird's head with care as tears of happiness began to fill his eyes. I've missed you so much. Pidgeot, Pidge. Pidgeot cooed as it nuzzled its trainer. Pidgeot, that I'm going to be leaving for a very long time. I don't know if I will come back, Ash said as his tone began to grow serious. Pidgeot began to wonder what was happening. Sure, his trainer left it to go on adventures numerous times, but this time was different and it didn't know why. Pidge? Pidgeot asked in confusion. Pidgeot, I'm going to give you one chance to come with me. Now here is your Pokeball, it's been with me this whole time and I want no need to know if you want to come with me. Ash said as he began to grow more and more serious. Pidge. Pidge, Pidge, Pidgeot. It cried as it poked the center of the Pokeball with its head and was sucked into it. Welcome back, old friend, Ash whispered as he turned around and ran as fast as he could back to Pallet Town. As Ash ran, he came across a man who was at the funeral. Paul, where are you going? Asked the raven-haired trainer. What does it matter to you? He snapped back with aggravation obvious in his response. Paul the First just lost my mother, my friends, and May. I'm not in the mood for your attitude. Ash replied as he grew angered at Paul's attitude. I know, Ash. What's your point? Paul asked, unfazed by his rival's anger. Ash took a deep breath and calmed himself. Paul, where are you going now? Why does it matter to you? Paul asked as he began to go curious as to what Ash was thinking. Just answer the question, Ash said as his voice began to grow colder with each passing second. Seti Islands, Paul said after a moment's hesitation as to why Ash wanted this information. I have a request, Ash said, but was cut off by Paul. I don't do favors, Paul cut in. Allow me to rephrase myself then. I have a job for you. Why should I help you? Paul asked, but was starting to grow interested in Ash's intentions. I need you to find an old friend of mine, Ash said while his eyes began to glow dilated. I don't do charity work, Ketchum. What's in it for me? Paul asked. Complete the task, then you get your reward. I'll take my payment in advance, Paul said, hoping for an immediate response. When he got none, he turned around with his hands in his pockets and walked away until Ash spoke up. I can get you a battle with Brandon, Ash said, knowing he had gotten Paul's attention. Paul turned around and glared at Ash with looks that could kill. I know you want a rematch with the Pyramid King, and being the champion of the Battle Frontier I can arrange that. What do you need me to do? Find my Butterfree. Here, Paul said as he handed Ash a Pokeball. When did you find him? Ash asked in disbelief. About 2 years ago, it was being attacked by a group of Butterfree. I'm assuming its mate was a pink Butterfree, wasn't it? Paul said as a grim look cast itself on his face. Yeah, why? It was killed by the other Butterfree. Oh my God. Ash said as his thoughts went to how much pain his old friend must have gone through. So when will my battle be? Paul asked. After the tournament. Hey Tara. Dawn yelled as she ran up to him as he exited the arena. What? Ash asked. We're all going out to dinner tonight, you want to come? Will Drew be there? Of course, Dawn said with a smirk on her face. I'm in. As Ash approached the restaurant with a feeling of worry stabbing him in the gut. He was accompanied by Serena and Clement. Bonnie was at the hotel being watched by Pikachu and Deden. Serena, that I'm really nervous. We are going out tonight with my less desirable acquaintances, and with them is my mortal enemy. What am I going to do? Ash asked Serena with worry evident in his eyes. Well, I know what you're not going to do, Clement said, not wanting Serena to be put on the spot like this. You're not going to beat the life out of Drew, and you're not going to verbally attack our companions. He is right, Ash, if you want this to work we can't just rush in there got-headed. Serena said, however her thoughts were on another topic. Why did he forgive Dawn already? After everything she did he forgave her just like that. How did she connivance him? Serena thought to herself. What if she likes him? What if she is trying to expose him? She thought frantically, but then a thought crossed her mind that made her eyes widen. What if he likes Dawn? Hey Ash, can I ask you a question? Serena asked in a timid voice. Sure, what's on your mind, Serena? Ash asked. Well, she started a bit flustered, which didn't go unnoticed by Ash and Clement. Why did you forgive Dawn already? I mean, after everything she has done you forgave her just like that. Dawn actually came to me out of paranoia. She thought that I was me and I accidentally slipped up and she found out. She apologized from her heart, and when I looked in her heart her apology was sincere and she truly regretted her decision. Ash said as he smiled, remembering the pain a former friend went through, but it quickly disappeared when he remembered that this friend had redeemed herself. Ash, is this because you're sweet on her? Clement asked playfully, punching Ash in the shoulder. No, Clement. Don't go there, Ash said in a serious voice as he stopped walking. Sorry, man. Clement apologized in a hasty manner. Ash only laughed as they continued their journey to the restaurant. Tara, hey. Dawn said as she ran and embraced her friend in a tight hug, earning a glare from a honey-haired female. Hey Dawn. Clement said. Who are you? Dawn asked. That's Clement and I'm Serena. It's nice to meet you, Serena said as she held out her hand to the brunette. Hello Serena, my name is Dawn. You have no clue how lucky you are for Ash to forgive you after all the pain you caused him, Serena spat at the Sinnoh native with her voice having a hostile tone. Serena, stop, she has gone through enough, Ash interrupted. Okay, Serena said as her voice trailed off. Come on Tara, Serena said as she playfully shoved Ash, let's go eat. Ash opened the pair of double doors and entered the restaurant accompanied by his trio of friends. This way Ash, Dawn whispered as she led them to a small group of people sitting around a large circular table. Hey guys. I brought some guests, I hope that's okay, Dawn said as she took a seat next to May. I don't see why it would be, said Misty. Hey Dawn, why did you bring Tara with you? He is a Brock asked as he grew annoyed at the brunette. He is one of my childhood friends. I apologize for his attitude. He lost his mother at a very young age, so he can be a bit edgy at times, Dawn said, praying that she didn't cross a line when seeing Ash cringe at her excuse. Oh Tara, that I'm sorry dude, I had no idea, Brock apologized as he handed the hooded boy a breadstick. It's fine, Ash said, forcing it to sound what could pass as pleasant. Well, we should introduce ourselves. I'm Misty and that's Dash, said the redhead until she was cut off by Ash. I already know who you guys are, I've heard of you during my travels. Ash said with his fists hidden under the table. Silence fell among the group until Drew broke the silence. So Tara, why are you competing here? That's none of your business, Rose boy, Ash snapped at the green-haired teen. Hey, don't talk to my boyfriend like that. May said as she defended Drew. Please excuse Tara, he has had a rough day, Clement said. It's okay as long as it doesn't happen again, May said, unsure of the hooded stranger. Let's see. What should I do to Drew tonight? Ash thought until an idea stuck him. Ash's eyes began to glow blue under the hood, which went unnoticed to everyone except for Serena, who sat right next to him. A series of images ran through Ash's head as he searched Drew's memory until he found something he thought would be useful. Perfect, Ash thought. Serena threw as a gland that said, "What are you doing?" but Ash just returned to look at Drew. "Oh Drew, I remember you now," Ash said in an enthusiastic voice that caught Serena and Dawn off guard. "Do you remember me?" he asked. No Tara, I can't say we have met before," Drew said, confusion evident in his voice. "Haha, nice try man, don't you remember in that bar in Lily Cove 4 years ago? You said that we would be friends forever," Ash said as he inwardly was laughing at the irony of the situation. "Oh you. Hey man, it's been a while," Drew said, lying through his teeth. Unlike everyone else, Ash and Serena could tell that his response was faked. "So Drew, I see your injury has healed," Ash said as his plan began to progress. "Injury? What's he talking about, Drew?" May asked her boyfriend. "I don't know, what are you talking about, Tara?" Drew asked, confused. "Oh Drew, you know exactly what I'm talking about," Ash said as he moved his hand to where his cheek would be, giving the teen a hint. Drew's face grew pale as he realized what Tara was referring to. "Oh that it's fine," Drew replied hastily, which didn't go unnoticed by May. "Drew, what injury?" May asked yet again. "Wait Drew, you didn't tell her?" Tara asked as he humored the frightened teen. "You know that cut on your face?" "I think you're mistaken Tara, Drew got that mark when he was attacked by a boy named Ash Ketchum. He tried to kill Drew, but just like Ash's mother's life was taken, his own life was taken as well. Just goes to show you life's a beach," May said with a smug look on her face. Serena grew infuriated at May's words. Her shoulders tensed and her jaw clenched tightly. She was about to give May a piece of her mind, but her anger vanished when she felt something grab her hand. She looked down and saw that Ash had taken hold of her hand and was trying to calm her down. "I know you're mad, but please control yourself," a voice in her head said. She knew it was communicating with her through aura. She looked at her friend and nodded, signifying that she understood. "Wait May, Drew never told you?" Ash asked in a very convincing voice. "Tell me what?" "Drew, what's he talking about?" May asked, completely out of lieu. "Tell you that a biker attacked him because he was hitting on his girlfriend," Ash said with a hidden smile on his face. "Wait, what?" Misty said as she looked at Drew. "Yes sure he did," May retorted before continuing. "You're just saying that to make Drew look bad." "Yet Tara, what gives? Are you trying to steal May from me?" Drew sneered while silently thanking his girlfriend for creating a way for Drew to attack Tara. "Would you like me to show you?" Ash asked. "Yeah, sure Tara, show us." "Show us a figment of your twisted imagination," May snapped. "Okay then," Ash said as he lifted his right arm and his hand began to glow blue as he projected an image onto the table. "What the hell?" May said. May, let's go outside sweetie," Drew said, desperate to get her away from the table. "Tisk tisk tisk," Ash said. "Drew, so you lied to them? Wow man, that's low." As everyone stared at the image, stunned that it was being projected to them as if it was a movie. You could see Drew walk up to a tall and busty black-haired girl wearing a tight tank top revealing a lot of skin and a tight skirt. Drew touched the girl's shoulder as he wrapped his arms around her midsection. May just stood there stunned at the images portrayed before her eyes. Drew's hand slowly moved up towards the girl's breasts and gave them a gentle squeeze. The girl yelled and a muscular man walked over to Drew as he immediately released the girl and put his hands up looking like he was trying to make an excuse. The man pulled out a pocket knife and walked over to Drew and slashed him in the face, and Drew fell to his knees silently screaming due to the fact there was no audio. Ash just smiled as everyone watched the memory and Drew looked at him with hatred in his eyes. Ash snapped his fingers and the image disappeared and everyone turned their attention to the green-haired boy. "So Drew, you didn't tell them that?" Ash said. "Drew?" May asked her boyfriend with pleading eyes. "Tell me that wasn't true, tell me it was fake please." "Drew, tell her the truth or I may show them other memories of yours," Ash threatened. Shut up, Tara. Drew shouted at him. Okay, that you got me. Sorry May, but that did happen. Drew confessed. F dash. Gary said as he stood up and walked over to Drew. You mean to tell me that Ash didn't do this? He yelled as the other occupants in the establishment began to notice the group's antics. No. Drew muttered. Say that again, I don't think I heard you correctly. Gary yelled as he lifted Drew off his feet. No. Okay, Jesus. Drew said as he pushed himself away from Gary. May please give me another chance, I haven't done anything like that since then. It was a bad time in my life, I had a lot going on, Drew. Pleased. Remember how I told you I lost my cousin when the S. Libra sank? That's why I was there. I was out of it, please. May just stood there stunned. He lied to me about Ash attacking him. Does that mean he lied about killing Ash's mother? She thought as her eyes widened. What am I thinking? This is Drew. He is the sweetest guy on the planet. Okay, Drew, you have one more chance. May said. You're kidding me, right? He has lied to you for 4 years and you forgive him just like that? Ash asked, stunned. Serena just sat there thinking of how ironic it was that May did the same thing with Drew as Ash had with Dawn. Why wouldn't I? He is my boyfriend. May yelled, growing agitated. Drew, you can start redeeming yourself by taking me to that shop down on the pier that we saw earlier. Come on, let's go. May said, taking advantage of her boyfriend's desperation. She got up and began to walk away. Oh yeah, and Tara, if appreciated if you didn't interfere with my love life. I know it SCKS that someone like you doesn't have one, but you don't have to try to ruin someone else's, May sneered as she walked out the doors. Okay May, I'm coming. Drew said as he glared at Ash before running out of the restaurant. Everyone sat at the table stunned by what May had said. What happened to the sweet girl I know 4 years ago? Dawn said out loud to no one in particular. She's becoming more like Rose Boy every day, Gary spat. I've always hated him and now I have another reason to hate him. Ash sat there as tears began to well up in his eyes. Excuse me, he said as he got up and exited the restaurant. I'll go check on him, Serena said as she began to get up but was stopped by Gary. No Serena, I'll go. I have a few questions for him, he said as he walked out of the restaurant in search of the hooded man. Ash sat down on the stairs of the restaurant as he pulled his hood down, revealing his distraught face. What am I going to do? Ash whispered as he ran his hands through his hair. She forgave him even after that. As Gary walked out of the restaurant, he spotted the man he walked searching for and walked over to him. When he stood behind him he said, Tara, I need to have a word with you. Surprised, Ash turned around, not realizing who was talking to him. He froze at the man standing behind him. Gray stood there as surprised as Ash was. Gary put 2 and 2 together and it all made sense. The man's hostility towards Drew, running off when May attacked him, it all led to the conclusion of Tara being Ash. Ash? Gary said, his eyes wide. Sheet. Sheet, Ash said at the sight of the childhood frenemy. Ash, where the F, have you dash, Gary said until he was knocked unconscious by a thunderbolt. What the heck? Ash muttered as he turned around and saw a familiar yellow mouse running towards him. Pika Pie. Pikachu cried as it ran to his friend. Pikachu. Why are you here and who is watching Bonnie? Ash said very slowly as he worried as to what chaos caused by the 11-year-old girl. Pika. Pikachu said as its ears drooped. Ash stood there silent for a money before saying, you were outsmarted by an 11-year-old. Pikachu dropped its head. I'm shame of his mistake. Pika Pika. Choo choo choo. You really thought she would give you 5 extra large bottles of ketchup? Ash asked, trying not to laugh. Pika. Pikachu nodded as it gave his master a thumbs up. At this point Ash was clutching his sides as he laughed uncontrollably. This addiction of yours is really getting out of hand, buddy. What am I going to do with you? Ash sighed as he reaches for a pokeball. Gardevoir, I need your assistance. From the pokeball came a human-like Pokemon with long, slender arms. Its lower body resembled a slim gown with a green underside. It had green hair that curled down the sides of its head. Guardy. The Embrace Pokemon said as it held its arms to its sides. It stood information of her trainer with serene grace. Ash walked up to an unconscious Gary and lifted him up and threw him over his shoulder. Gardevoir, use teleport. Gardevoir obeyed as it closed its eyes and began to dimly glow purple, and she along with her trainer, Pikachu, and the tag along were engulfed in a bright light and disappeared. A small clearing in the forest nearby had a flash of light that lit up the darkening sky briefly before fading away. Ash walked over to a tree and leaned Gary against it. I have a tough choice to make, he thought. I can't just let him go because he will tell everyone else, but I can't just keep him here. Why can life never be simple? Ash muttered before returning to his thoughts. My only option is to use Memory Link, but I don't think I am ready to use it again so soon, he thought before another voice made itself apparent. It is your only option, it seems like it's the only solution that could benefit you, said the voice. It was a female's voice and it was soothing, and strong signs of compassion and love were evident in the stranger's words. Gardevoir, are you sure? Ash asked, turning to his psychic-type friend. Yes, Master, Gardevoir said in Ash's thoughts. Okay, Gardevoir, I'll do it, Ash said as he walked over to Gary. Pikachu, make sure no one finds us or interrupts us. Pikachu nodded its head as Ash turned his attention to Gardevoir. Gardevoir, make sure Pikachu doesn't screw up, he said with a cheeky grin, but was shocked by Pikachu, who had a look of agitation on his face. I was kidding, buddy. Ash laughed as his hand began to glow blue. He held his hands at close proximity. A small ball of pure aura took shape. He rested the palms of his hands on Gary's head and whispered, Memory Link. Dream world, Gary. Gary awoke and found himself in a stadium with thousands of people cheering. What the? Gary said as he turned his attention to the field. He saw his first Pokemon battling a large red dragon. Blastoise, what's going on? Gary yelled before realizing something. Wait, this is the Silver Conference. He exclaimed as he saw the large turtle launch a hydro pump at the large dragon. I remember this battle, said a voice across the field. Gary looked at the figure, and instead of seeing a boy he battled back when he was 12, he saw the matured and older version of Ash Ketchum. This was one of my toughest battles to date, Gary, Ash said before pausing for a moment as he watched his Charizard pick up Gary's Blastoise and used Seismic Toss. Gary, I remember a time in my life when I truly hated you. I hated you for all the times you put me down, how you were always one step ahead of me no matter what I did. This battle changed everything. Gary, after this battle we put our past behind us and were friends like we were when we were kids. You went off and became a Pokemon researcher, and I continued my quest to become a Pokemon master, remember? Gary stood there confused beyond belief, and he only nodded his head in agreement, unable to speak. You have no idea how much you hurt me during the funeral, Ash said as he began to grow angry. After everything we've been through, after knowing me for the 17 years of our lives, you actually thought I killed my mother. Ash bellowed, infuriated at his former friend. Hey, don't look at me, man. I just call 'em how I see them. Gary shouted back at the Pallet native. You know the worst part, Gary? I didn't even get to say, goodbye or I love you. She just burnt after saying that she loved me as her life ended because of Rose Boy. What's your point, Ash? I mean, I can tell whatever the F is going on right now is you're doing because I know I can't time travel, Gary said as he grew impatient at the 17-year-old for not telling him why he was here. Gary, muttered as he balled his hands up into fists. I'm showing you the truth, that I didn't kill my mother. You will see all the pain I have endured in the past 4 years. You will see the hell you and everyone else put me through, Ash said. What, Ash? Gary started before he was distracted by a bright light consuming the stadium. Location, Route 1, day of Delia's death. When the light faded, Gary found himself standing on a flygon riding behind a man with a fedora. What the heck? Gary said as he reached to grab the man, but his hands went straight through him. Gary watched the ground below as they flew through the sky. He could make out objects in the distance, however he couldn't identify them. After a few minutes passed, he recognized where he was. This is Pallet Town, he muttered as he noticed the Ketchum residence growing closer and closer. Gary watched as the dragon created strong gusts of wind that ravaged the normally peaceful area. Gary stared at the mother and son below as Tri struggled to stay on their feet. Suddenly the dragon moved quickly, knocking Gary off balance, sending him falling to the ground below. Gary yelled as he plummeted towards the ground and was knocked unconscious upon impact. Gary awoke and sat up, watching the man from the Flygon engaging the Ketchums. "Hello, Ash," came the deep voice from the stranger. "This must be Delia Ketchum. How sweet, looks like you two are having a family get-together, too bad your father isn't here to enjoy this." The mysterious figure mocked. Gary watched the scene unfold before him as he zoned out, realizing something. This was Ash's memory. He snapped out of his thoughts by a very angry Ash. "What does May have to do with this?" yelled Ash. "Wait, what?" Gary said, confused, not knowing what was going on. "I won't let you hurt her," Ash yelled. "I never said I was going to hurt her. I'm just giving you a warning. Stay out of my way. May will be mine and nothing will stand in my way," the man said. "No. I won't let you," Ash yelled. "What is happening? Who is that guy?" Gary thought to himself. "Run now, boy. Why don't you just disappear like your father?" The man spat, his voice full of venom. "Who the F are you?" Gary yelled at the man. "He can't hear you, Gary," Ash said as he appeared next to Gary. "We are non-existing entities here, this is just memory. We can't change it. It's like a movie, we watch it but we don't talk to the characters." "What happened 4 years ago, Ash?" Gary said in a serious tone, demanding an answer. "Watch and you will find out," Ash said, pointing to his younger self. "Leave her, Ash started but was cut off by his mother. "What does this have to do with my husband?" Delia shouted, demanding an answer. She was furious, her eyes burned with hate as the man mocked not only her son but her husband. "Why do you defend him, Delia? He left you. He left you and your child. He never fathered him, he just vanished. What does that tell you? He doesn't love his son and he certainly wouldn't care what happens to either of you, why else would he have left you after Ash was born? You know nothing of my husband. He had his reasons to leave. He didn't abandon us, he told me he was leaving. He told me why and I said he could. So how dare you mock my husband?" Delia yelled, tears leaked from her eyes. She was enraged, she wanted this man to burn in hell. "Who the hell is this guy, Ash?" Gary asked with fury evident in his tone. Ash just shook his head in disappointment and said, "I told you once and you didn't believe me, so Fenji, watch what's happening and you will find out." "Whatever you say, Delia. I'd love to stay and chat but time for me to finish this. Hey Ash, how does it feel that you've lost your father but now you're going to lose your mother?" the man bellowed. His voice was deep and was full of hate. "Flygon, end this. Use flamethrower on the Ketchums and let them burn." Flygon roared and opened his mouth, releasing a flame hot enough to turn metal in goop. "Ash, look out!" Delia screamed in terror. Ash stood still, fear paralyzingly even muscle in his body. Delia then ran to her son and with all the strength she possessed she pushed Ash out of the range of flamethrower. "Mom, no!" Ash screamed, shaking in anger. Tears were in his eyes, his fists were clenched, his fingernails digging into his skin. "No way, no freaking way," Gary whispered to himself as he watched the boy cry over his mother's burning corpse. Gary turned and looked at Ash, who had tears slowly descending down his cheeks. "Ash!" came a voice. It was faint and was very weak. After this came a raspy cough. "Mom!" Ash yelled as he turned around and ran to his mother, kneeling down and holding her burnt body in his arms. "Mom, it's going to be okay, we're going to get you help." Ash cried in a very raspy voice. "Ashy, I'm sorry but my time is up, sweetie. I want you to remember these 3 things." Delia said, her voice just above a whisper. "Mom, don't talk like that. Please." Ash cried, laying his head in his mother's shoulder. "Ash, please be strong. If I'm leaving this world I need to tell you these 3 things, they are more important than you think," she said, coughing as the words came out. 1. Ash, this was not your fault. You did everything you could do," she said. Her voice was strained. Ash could tell there wasn't much time left. 2. I want you to know that both your father and I are very, very proud of you. We love you so much, Ash. Don't ever forget that," she said. She put her hand on his cheek and slowly pulled herself up and kissed it. 3. Ash. This is my last chance to tell you about your father. Your father is an amazing man. When you were born he held you in his arms and he had the biggest smile on his face. Tears began to leak from her eyes. "Ash, it's time I told you who your father is." "Ash dash," she began as coughed up some blood. "Your father's name is Red," she said. And one last time she muttered, "I love you, Ash," and her body went limp. "No. Mom!" Ash screamed and began to have a mental breakdown. "Well, looks like my work here is done," the man said as he began to walk away. "Ash," Gary said as he turned to his friend but was surprised at Ash's response. "Shut up," Ash said in a low and deadly voice. "FNG, watch before I change my mind," he yelled as each word grew fiercer with each passing breath he took. "Change your mind about what?" Gary asked but was distracted when he heard a yell. "You! This is your fault," Ash said, running at the man, tackling him to the ground. "I am going to kill you," Ash yelled, preparing to punch the man. The man kicked Ash off of him and stood up, his hat on the ground. The man that stood before him, green hair accompanied by a set of emerald eyes. He stood about 6.1 feet and his face had a slash on it that closely reassembled that of a knife wound. The scene froze and started to fall apart as everything began to shimmer away. A bright light engulfed Gary and Ash and whisked them away back to reality. Location: Trevulant Grove. Present time. Gary awoke and shot straight up when he realized he wasn't in the dream world anymore. "Oh my God, Ash, I'm so dash," Gary said, but he saw Ash on the ground unconscious. His eyes were open but were glassy and dilated, his hands were glowing red. Gary began to panic but he saw Ash. "Pikachu! Pikachu!" Gary yelled, getting the mouse's attention. "There's something wrong with Ash." Pikachu bolted towards his master with Gardevoir in tow. Pikachu gasped when he saw Ash and the condition he was in, and Gardevoir began to have tears in her eyes. "Come on, Ash, wake up," Gary said as he gently shook the teen in hope of waking him, but to no avail. "Ash, you've made it through some tough situations and I will be mad if I let you die here," he said, thinking Ash would die. Pikachu had an idea as he ran to Ash and grabbed a Pokeball from his belt and pushed it to Gary by rolling it with his nose. "Pika! Pika Pika Pi Pi Chew!" Pikachu said, pointing at the Pokeball, hoping Gary would catch on. Lucky for him, Gary did. "Okay, I'm trusting you, Pikachu," Gary said as he released the Pokemon inside. "Oh no, Master!" cried the Pokemon as it ran to the fallen teen. Gary stood stunned. Did you just talk?" The Pokemon looked at him and shook his head. "No, my name is Lucario. I am communicating with you through aura. Who are you?" said Lucario. "My name is Gary, I am. Was one of Ash's friends," Gary said as a frown took place on his face. Lucario made note that Gary said he was his friend. Lucario assumed that Gary knew how much Ash despised him for what he had done. So this is the great Gary Oak, Lucario thought to himself. Lucario turned his attention to Ash and his eyes widened in fear. "No, Master, stay strong, don't give in." Lucario said, getting Gary's attention. What's wrong with him? Gary asked as he began to fear that Ash's condition was his own doing. He used memory link and showed you the past, didn't he? Lucario asked rather quickly as Gary nodded. He must have depleted a great portion of his aura. After using memory link last night with Dawn, why would he use it again so soon? Wait, Dawn knows. Lucario mentally slapped himself, realizing he said something he shouldn't have. Gardevoir, teleport all of us to Ash's room, Lucario said to Gardevoir, but noticed she was looking at Gary. Yes, him as well. A light flashed in the hotel room as the small group was transported into it. Lay him down here, Lucario told Gary as he pointed to the couch. Gary slowly placed Ash on it before returning to the group of Pokémon. Master is in critical condition, Lucario said. If he doesn't obtain a pass orb soon, he will die. Pikachu, does he have any in his bag? Lucario asked as Pikachu scurried over to Ash's bag and desperately searched it for the orb. Chew, Pikachu wailed as it shook its head when it was unable to find one. Gary's eyes widened as an idea struck him. Wait, Lucario, you said he needs pass orbs, right? Gary hastily asked. Yes, I will go find some, but I am unsure if I can find any in time. No, Lucario, I will. You said his aura was almost depleted because of memory link. That is because of me, and this something I need to do. Gary said. Lucario, he may need you to use your own aura to keep him alive before a pass orb is found. I see your point, but how would you find one? Asked Lucario, unsure of the boy's intentions. I'm a Pokemon researcher and I happen to know a researcher in Unova who is studying pass orbs, and I know she would willingly give me some, Gary said. Lucario stood still for a moment, contemplating on what to do. He raised his hand and his eyes began to glow blue. Let's see what this boy feels, Lucario thought as he began to do an analysis of Gary. Lucario was shocked by what the boy felt. He really wanted to make up for the past. Lucario decided to ask Gary some questions. Why should I trust you? Lucario asked in a stern voice. You betrayed my master along with the others, and he has gone through hell and back in the past 4 years. Gary stood there thinking of how to respond until he decided what to do. I'm not going to try to defend myself, Lucario, Gary said, surprising Lucario and the other Pokemon. You're right, you shouldn't trust me. After what I put him through when we were younger was bad enough, and to make matters worse I stabbed him in the back when he needed me the most. I effed up, and I effed up bad. Nothing I can do will ever make up for my mistakes, Gary said with a solemn look on his face. He paused briefly before continuing. No, I won't just sit here when Ash is dying because of me. I did this to him and I wouldn't be able to live it down if he died. What the heck am I saying? It doesn't matter what I feel, that you guys have been with him through all of this and I was just living like nothing happened. Gary yelled as he punched to wall. Lucario, I'm not asking, I'm telling you I need to do this. I know there is no way in hell Ash will forgive me for what I did. I'll be mad though if I just walk out of here and not doing a thing to help him. Gary began to calm down and began to speak again. Lucario. Sorry. For disrespecting you like that. It isn't my choice if I get to help him or not. I'm not telling you to let me do this. I'm asking as a friend. Well, no, as a bad memory to let me make this right. Gary said as his eyes began to glow glassy, holding back tears. Lucario stood there making a decision of what to do. He contemplated the pros and cons of him going to search for pass orbs, but realized Gary was right. Ash needed him here to make sure his aura wasn't depleted. He knew time was short, so he went on a limb and made up his mind on what to do. We need 5 pass orbs. Wait, are you saying dash? Gary said enthusiastically before being cut off by Lucario. Don't make me regret my choice. Go. Gary rushed out of the hotel and bolted towards the nearest video phone he could find. He dashed down the street and found one right next to a little shop that sold evolutionary stones. Come on, pick up. Gary whispered frantically as he dialed the number. The phone rang for 15 seconds and then a woman answered the phone. The woman had purple hair that had a small Muna hairclip in it. She wore a white lab coat and had her glasses on. Professor Fennel speaking, may I ask who is calling? Professor Fennel, it's Gary Oak. Gary said. Gary, why hello. It's been years since I've seen you. Thanks again by the way for letting me borrow the genetic data on Hypno. I think I'm about to make a breakthrough with my dream machine. She exclaimed with a large smile on her face. That's great and all, but I'm in a hurry and I need 5 pass orbs, please, it's an emergency. Gary pleaded. Sorry Gary, but I need these pass orbs, as you know they are very hard to find, she said with a somber look cast in her face. Please, I will do anything. Gary pleaded again, desperate to help his friend. Well, Fennel said as her voice trailed off, hoping to bait the desperate boy for her own doing. Please, I'll do it. Whatever it is, I will do it. Gary said frantically. I do have a lack of dream matter which is found in the shards of Garthal crystals which are coincidentally found on Twilight Island, she said with a coy smile. Actually, never mind, I can just get my business associate on the island to do it for me. No, please. I will find them, please. Gary begged, praying to Arceus that she would cave and give him the pass orbs. Okay Gary, but are you sure? They are incredibly hard to find and also delicate and are only found on the farthermost west side of the island, which is inhabited by a strong psychic-type Pokemon. I think its name is Mewtwo. She said, smirking. Upon hearing this, Gary's hands balled into fists at the mention of Mewtwo. He remembered his humiliating loss to Giovanni during his Kanto journey. He looks back at that as his weakest moment. I'll do it. Okay Gary, I'll send you the orbs, just please wait a moment, she said as she walked away from the screen. Hook, line, and sinker, she thought as she giggled while retrieving the orbs and placed them in a bag. Moments later she returned and placed them in a small hatch. Okay Gary, are you ready? Gary nodded his head. Fennel clicked a button and the bag vanished from the hatch and reappeared with Gary. Thanks Professor. Gotta run by. Gary said before ending the call and running away. Men are so predictable, Fennel said before returning to work. Gary dashed down the boardwalk as he began getting closer and closer to the hotel. He was about to enter until someone stopped him. Gary, where are you going? Asked May, who was holding hands with Drew as they approached him. Yeah Gary, shouldn't you be actually doing something important and not running around like a child? Drew sneered with an arrogant look on his face. Hey Bush boy, want to know what you should do? Gary asked in a taunting manner. Take one of your roses and shove it up your butt. He yelled before running through the doors, leaving an infuriated May and Drew with looks of disgust on their faces. Lucario! Gary yelled as he entered the room. I got the pass orbs. Lucario bolted to Gary and ripped the bag away from him. Gary was about to snap at the Pokemon but decided to use better judgment and stayed silent. So how is he doing? Gary asked in a timid voice, fearing for Ash. Horrible. He doesn't have much time left and you got here at the right time. Lucario said as he emptied the bag and placed the orbs on the coffee table. His hand began to glow blue and he smashed it onto the table, turning the orbs into dust. He swiped the dust into his hand and walked over to his master. In the hand that held the remains of the orb began to glow blue as a ball of aura took hold of the dust and Lucario shoved the ball into Ash's chest. Moments later a shriek of pain was heard from Ash. What that happened? Ash asked groggily as he sat up but immediately fell back down. Arceus, my head is killing me. You nearly depleted your aura, Gary said as Ash turned his head to face Gary. Why are you here, Gary? Ash spat in rage, frightening Gary. I'll show you, master, just rest, Lucario said as he began to use a memory link of his own. Well, I guess I should leave. Gary muttered as he turned and began to walk away. Lucario used a minor form of memory link and Ash saw images run through his mind, from the dream world when he was with Gary to the conversation between Gary and Lucario. Lucario even tapped into Gary's memories and showed him the phone call, but what stood out the most was not only his statement to Lucario but also how much Gary did to try to save him. Ash finally sat up and watched Gary about to open the door before he stopped him. You were wrong, Gary, Ash said as Gary turned to him. About what? That I wouldn't forgive you. Wait, say what now? Gary asked. I said I forgive you, unless you would rather me tell you to get the F out of here, Ash retorted. Well, I don't know what to say, Gary said, stunned by Ash's words. How about you say my name is Gary Oak and I'm really lucky to be forgiven for betrayed his friend in his weakest moment. Ash said in an emotionless voice as he turned and looked at the clock. Holy hell, it's 1:30. Gary, move your butt out of here, boy. I knew my rest, I have a battle tomorrow. Sunlight pierced the darkness in Serena's room as she woke up. She rolled out of bed and stripped out of her nightgown and went to her closet and put a sleeveless top and a pair of tattered jeans. She walked over to her mirror and washed her face with a wet washcloth. Once she made herself look presentable, she went to go meet Ash, Clement, and Bonnie in the lobby. Serena, what took you so long? Ash said. As Serena walked into the lobby. It shouldn't take you that long to get dressed. Ash, it's a girl thing you wouldn't understand, Serena said while crossing her arms. Yeah, Ash. We aren't like guys. We don't just roll out of bed and grab something random from the closet. We need to make ourselves look good. Bonnie jumped in, eager to support her friend. Clement, sensing that things would get out of control, decided to change the subject. So Ash, what time is your battle? I'm actually not sure, I was going to check right now, Ash said while nervously scratching the back of his head. Oh, I'll go with you then, Serena said, hoping to get some alone time with Ash. Sure, I don't see why, Ash said until Bonnie interrupted him. No, Ash, Serena's going to stay with me. Bonnie said with a cheeky smile. But Ash said that, Serena said before Clement jumped into the conversation. Actually, Serena, could you actually stay with Bonnie? I promised Lieutenant Surgeon Faulkner that we would go train together, seeing as how we are all electric-type gym leaders and all, Clement asked. It would be great if you could, the last time I left her alone, well. Clement, shut up. We don't have to tell them about that. Bonnie yelled as her face grew beet red and the occupants around them looked at the little girl in surprise of her outburst. Well, okay, I guess, Serena said as her voice began to trail off, which didn't go unnoticed by the younger girl. Will, I gotta run, guys, see ya. Clement said as he began to walk outside, but not before yelling, also don't let Bonnie get a hold of any Pop-Tarts. Bonnie pouted, annoyed that she couldn't have her sugary pastries. Okay. Serena said in a perplexed tone. She turned to Bonnie and was about to say something, but Bonnie just said, don't ask. Let's see, Tara, said Nurse Joy while she pounded furiously at her keyboard trying to find a time placement for Ash's battle. Here we go. Tara, your battle will be at 7:45 tonight in Arena A, 4-inch. Thanks, Nurse Joy, Ash said as he walked out of the Pokemon Center. So Pikachu, who do you think I should use tonight? Ash asked his faithful partner. Pikachu just merely shrugged, but its ears perked up and jumped off Ash's shoulder and ran ahead of Ash. Hey Pikachu, where are you going? Ash yelled as he ran after his friend. Ash finally found Pikachu hiding near a bush in Jade Park near an old oak tree observing something. Pikachu, why did you dash? Asked, but Pikachu lifted his paw to his face, making a gesture to be quiet. Pikachu, what's up, buddy? Ash whispered, wondering what was going on with Pikachu. Hi, Pikachu said as he pointed towards two people beyond the bush, and Ash decided to watch what was happening. Hey, you're May, said a little girl holding a Cleffa in her arms. I want to be a coordinator just like you. She looked about 8 years old and had brown hair in pigtails. Just like me? May asked, suppressing a giggle. Yeah. Me and Cleffa will take the world by storm. My name is Kaylin, said the little girl who had a wide smile and had the eyes of purity only seen in a child. We may even be as good as you. At this point May laughed. She laughed uncontrollably and Ash's jaw dropped in shock. You? As good as me? That's a good one, kid. I am one of the best coordinators in the world, and no one with a Cleffa could even make it to the grand festival. May said while laughing. Kid, you make me laugh. To think you thought you could be as good as someone like me is hilarious. Kaylin's eyes grew glassy and Cleffa looked hurt as well. Ash just stared at May in pure shock. What happened to the girl I knew 4 years ago, he thought to himself, but his thoughts were cut short by the brunette once again. Okay sweetie, listen up, I'm going to teach you a life lesson. May said with a sinister look on her face. There are 2 types of people in this world. Those who are successful at what they do and accomplish their dreams, and those who flat out suck and make a fool out of themselves. Now I obviously belong in the first category, but can you guess which one you're in? Kaylin just stared at May and her response was in the form of a heartbroken response. The first one. Once again May laughed. Oh, I'm sorry sweetie, but you with that Cleffa? Sadly you are in the USCK category. May said while laughing. Maybe if you didn't have such a shitty Pokemon you could be successful. At this point Ash was beyond furious. He emerged from the bushes and yelled, May, what the heck are you doing? May turned to Ash and have him a straightforward answer. Oh, it's just you, Tara. Well, if you must know, this feudal specimen is being graced by my presence and learning one of my fabulous tips. What else? You're nothing but a big bully. Kaylin yelled as she began to cry. Hey pigtails, I'm just telling you how it is. May said. May, what the hell? What happened to you? Ash yelled at her. What happened to that sweet girl that existed 4 years ago? Oh, that? Back then I was weak and oblivious to my potential as a coordinator. Had I actually traveled with Drew instead of that worthless trainer, I probably would have done much better. May answered. Ash's eyes glowed blue for a minute while searching her heart and found something he wished he hasn't. May was being honest. Her opinions on her coordinating were completely one-sided. Everything he had taught her she had thrown away. May, that I can't believe you, that I can't forgive you for this, he thought. May, what's wrong with you? This girl isn't even 10 years old and you bullying her. Whatever, Tara. Now if you would excuse me, I need to meet Drew before his battle and give him a good luck kiss. Ta-ta, May said as she walked away from Ash and Kaylin. May, what have you become? Ash whispered to himself as he looked at Pyaku, who had an equally saddened face as his own. Ash looked at Kaylin, who sat against a tree hugging her knees and was sobbing as her Cleffa gently nudged her, trying to calm her down. Ash decided it was time to make up for May's mistakes. Hey Kaylin, Ash said as he sat next to the distressed girl. Kaylin briefly looked up but sobbed even more. Gigi, go away, don't hurt me please. She sobbed out of pain and fear. Ash was confused for a moment, but then it hit him. Kaylin, would you like me to take my hood off? I promise I'm not scary and won't hurt you. Ash said sincerely while picking Cleffa up and placing it on his lap. Kaylin looked up at Ash and slowly nodded. Ash pulled down his hood and said, see, I'm not scary, am I? No. Kaylin sniffed, trying not to cry. Does this hood have that much of a negative impact on everyone as it did on Kaylin? Ash thought to himself. Kaylin, my name is Tara and this is my best friend Pikachu. Ash said as he pulled the distressed child close and placed Cleffa in her arms. Pika Pie. Pikachu said as it waved to Kaylin, earning a cute childish giggle. It's so cute. Kaylin squealed. But not as cute as Cleffa. Ash laughed with the girl as Pikachu glared at Ash. So Kaylin, what is your dream? Ash asked, pretending that he hasn't heard the conversation. Kaylin's face darkened as her lip quivered. I wanted to be a coordinator, she said in a low voice. Wanted? Do you not want to anymore? Ash asked. No, I do, but if May says I can't, then I obviously have no chance. Kaylin protested. May is my hero and she hasn't lied before. Ash merely shook his head before responding. Kaylin, May doesn't control what you do. Only you do. She doesn't have the right to say you can't be a good coordinator. May shouldn't be your hero anymore, Kaylin, after what she just did. I guess, but no one will like me. Everyone will know that May said I stink and then they won't think I'm good. Kaylin wailed and was about to cry again, but Ash said something that shocked her. I think you're good. Really? But May just said Kaylin said, but Ash interrupted her. Kaylin May can't control everyone like puppets. She can't change everyone's opinions by her own will. I bet when you become a coordinator you will become a top coordinator. Ash said. You think so? Kaylin asked as a smile grew on her face. You bet, Ash said, giving her a bright smile and a thumbs up. Tara, you are my hero, Kaylin said happily. Ash's face darkened. Trust me that I'm no hero, I've been running from my problems for a long time. Well, I don't care. Like you said, only I can control my opinions, and I think you are my hero, Kaylin said with a smile that could melt any parent's heart like butter. Ash's eyes grew glassy as held back tears. Thank you, Kaylin. An idea suddenly struck him and he knew what to do. Kaylin, I want to give you something so you have something to remember me by, Ash said. Kaylin's eyes grew wide. Really? Yup, Ash said as he reached into his backpack and pulled out a pokeball. He clicked the button and out came a small mouse. It had little black tufts on its ears, but one of the ears was a bit spiky. It had a small tail and stood about 1 foot tall. Piku! Cried the little mouse. It's so cute. Kaylin cried as she hugged it and was shocked by the little mouse. Ash was shocked when it didn't seem to affect her. Looks like Piku has gotten over its fear of strangers, Ash thought as he smiled. Tara, are you sure you want me to keep him? Kaylin asked, unsure if she was capable of taking care of the Pokemon. I wonder if I can take care of Dot. Well, I guess I'll find out. Positive. He's yours, but you have to promise me to take care of him. He was a gift from my father, and that I've never met my father, so Piku's very special to me. Ash said with a sincere smile. I promise. Kaylin said as Ash handed her Piku's Pokeball and she clicked the button as Piku was sucked into the ball. It's getting late, I should go home. Kaylin said as her face darkened. Okay, then I'll take you there, Ash said as he picked up the little girl and placed her on his shoulders as he walked away from the forest.